On the Pierce Road. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Own your own car from the start. At B&S Credit Union, you can do just that with a flexible and affordable car loan. No hidden fees or penalties. Apply online at bndscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390, where our experienced loans team will be delighted to help you. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Are you building, rebuilding or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest. Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2025 will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny, February 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Admission is free to this 3-day event. This ad is sponsored by McDade's Bathroom and Tiles.
The Naughty Alarm Clock. Highland Radio.
There was Huey down there in Clonmany. Thought he had me secret sound, Daddy. 85% sure.
Yeah. How does it work? Do people, the confident ones, normally get it?
Sometimes, you know, you
Must
just
be a
have...
handy enough one, because you thought it would be gone by now.
Oh, I was just saying to Caroline, says, what? Do you know, there's going to 2:30 tomorrow. It's a wee handy one, you know, a wee handy lift.
Mere. Bernice was on to me. The New Year Day swim.
Yes.
The final amount raised was €11,345.60, which will do wonders for our Parkinson's community. Judith and Bernice would like to thank everyone who participated and donated to our event. Wait till you hear this.
Go on.
A special shout out to Greg Hughes, Lee Gooch from Highland Radio, Charles Ward, and our very own consultant, Dr. Kenmole Peters, for coming down and taking the plunge. To all the families and friends who came out and helped with the marshalling, selling tickets and shaking buckets, too many to name, and a very big thank you to Doe Amateur Swimming Club. Now, the overall total, €11,345. It's not actually the final total because
There's a wee bit coming in yet.
No, because
You what?
I
go on, you took out the wallet?
No, because
you raided the piggy bank? You went to the bank?
People that donated for us, right? It's around €400.
Oh, sure, we're over 11.5 grand then.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not 11.5.
It's 11.3. You said
11.3. Yeah,
so we're short a couple of.
I'd forgotten to donate it. So it's in the I know. I'm just being completely honest. I put it in the cupboard right now. I was going to lodge that into my back. Yes. So the total there's the R400 has to go into it yet.
What cupboard did you put the money into?
Well, I can't tell you that in case the burglars come.
You big mouse in the house.
But anyway, so it's actually over. It's almost 12.
So thanks to the people that give us all the money. So that's amazing. Isn't
I know.
Isn't that great? It's got to do so good.
I can't believe I forgot it. Do you know what I mean? I feel so silly. But anyway, they'll get it.
I was wondering where you get the new clothes from.
Stop that now. That's how rumours start.
And
that's
the new
how rumours start. Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's start that crack. No. Can we better go now? Dig a hole.
So almost 12. Brilliant. Fair play
Mighty,
to
thanks for the
girls.
message.
They did amazing there.
Yeah, great.
All right, Lee, have a great day. See you tomorrow. It's 9 o'clock. Time for news updates, and it's good morning again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Investigations are continuing after a 13-year-old boy was seriously injured following a suspected fall from an e-scooter in Buncrana yesterday. Emergency services were alerted shortly after 4:45 p.m. after the teenager was found unresponsive in the Linsford area. He was treated at the scene before being transferred to Letterkenny University Hospital, where he remains in a serious condition. The scene has been preserved for a technical examination and the road remains closed. Local diversions are in place. Garda are appealing to anyone who witnessed the incident or any road users with camera footage to come forward. 100,000 homes, farms and businesses are still without electricity since the record-breaking winds caused by Storm Eowyn last Friday. The ESB is welcoming crews from Austria, Finland, the Netherlands and France from today as they look to get power up and running over the next few days. 100,000 premises, meanwhile, are still without water. A significant number of properties in Donegal remain affected. Donegal County Council has agreed to write to the HSE to seek clarity over the dispatching of ambulances. It's after assistance from the National Ambulance Service was denied last week in response to a fire which completely destroyed a house in Fulcara. Homeowner Kathleen had a lucky escape when the blaze broke out on Thursday morning. She's currently receiving treatment at Letterkenny University Hospital, where family members were forced to transfer her to due to the absence of an ambulance. It's understood the fire service requested an ambulance numerous times. Councillor Michael McClaffrey says serious questions need answered.
We need to get this aired out going forward. Is this going to happen again? Or can all of us rest assured if we ring 999 in the future if we need to, are we going to get an ambulance or not in the Falcarry area or Glenties area? And that's the purpose of asking the council to write this letter today, to get a definitive answer, get a clear answer, and get an explanation as well. The family, first and foremost, the family and the patient in question needs an explanation themselves of what happened.
A Derry councillor has been suspended from the SDLP after providing a court reference for an Irish soldier who was recently jailed for the rape of another member of the Defence Forces. Brian Tierney, a former mayor of Derry and Strabane, last week apologised for the reference he issued for 30-year-old Keelan Mooney of Bloomfield Park, Derry, which he later withdrew. The SDLP has described it as a grave error of judgment. Councillor Tierney says he has made the very difficult decision to step aside as an SDLP councillor after reflecting on the situation over the past few days. For weather now, a breezy day today with showery outbreaks of rain at first, followed by scattered showers and sunny spells this afternoon. Highest temperatures of 6 to 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Good morning.
Introducing Instagram teen accounts with new built-in protections. Teen accounts are private by default, helping to protect them from unwanted contact. And teenagers under 16 require parental approval to change these protections. Instagram teen accounts, new built-in protections for parents' peace of mind. Learn more at instagram.com/teen accounts.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed. Good morning. It is just about to turn 4 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 28th of January. How are you all keeping out there? I hope you're very well indeed, and still conscious that many of you are without water and electricity. If we get any information over the course of the next 3 hours, we will, of course, bring it to you. So hopefully you're holding out okay. Right, we've got a busy show as always. Community Garda Information coming up a little later on. That and so much more besides. So stay tuned, and you can watch the show as well. By the way, obviously lots of you listening to us on the radio or on your smart speaker. But if you're at home and it suits you and you've got a smart TV, as many people do now, any new TVs particularly and it is most likely a smart TV. Many of you have your Fire Stick as well. You can fire up the YouTube app and just type in Highland Radio Ireland and watch us live on your big screen. We're on your mobile devices on that app and Facebook, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituaries, the Highland Hub, and on X at Highland Radio. If you want to contact us, feel free to give us a text or a WhatsApp. It's 086 60 25,000. Let's have a look at the newspapers this morning, and not many papers in, so I've sort of picked stories from a handful of them. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald, she's told Taoiseach Micheál Martin that it would be political negligence for the Dáil not to address Storm Éowyn. In a new letter sent to Mr Martin, seen by the newspaper, Miss McDonald said that the Dáil needs to meet urgently rather than reconvening on February 5th. However, Climate Minister Dara O'Brien accused her of trying to politicise the storm and that no speech is going to restore power or water or assist the community. The Dáil is not scheduled to meet this this week to allow ministers appointed last week to read up on their briefs. So what do you think about that? There's two school of thoughts, and I think they're quite insightful into sort of maybe how people think. So do you believe that the Dáil should have reconvened on Monday? Yes, of course. The TDs can't go out and reconnect people. But it would perhaps appear to give credence, as some might see, to the extent of the problem, and show a bit of leadership, talk about it, that type of stuff, give people the details as to what's happening. Or, as Dara O'Brien says, would it just be a talking shop and actually makes no material difference to the reconnection of electricity, water and humanitarian aid and what have you? What is your view? Should the Dáil have sat on Monday, or would it just have been a waste of time? In her letter to Mr Martin, Miss MacDonald said the Taoiseach needs to show decisive leadership in this moment of crisis by recalling the Dáil as a matter of urgency. She said, I urge you to reconvene Dáil Éireann without delay to address the crisis and to engage with TDs around a coordinated, robust and cross-departmental response to assist those affected. Do you feel that that would make a difference or not? It's up to you. We'll stay with the storm and European repair crews to assist ESB engineers in restoring power. Repair crews from Austria, Finland, Netherlands and France are expected this week to support ESB engineers in restoring power in the aftermath of Storm Eowyn, which caused widespread damage across the country. The ESB said the electricity network operators from these 4 EU countries are due to arrive in the coming days to join technicians from Britain who've already been deployed to the worst affected areas. Up to 100,000 homes and businesses are likely to be without power for the rest of the week in the aftermath of last week's storm, and some will be cut off from the grid until the end of next week. At least 180,000 customers remained without electricity yesterday evening, according to ESB Networks, down from a peak of 780,000. Now, on Wednesday, the state was contacted by representatives from Europe saying, look, we know you're going to get a bashing with this storm. Is there anything we can do to help? Now, it's been a bit controversial because some have claimed that the Irish government didn't accept that offer of assistance and that it was wrong to do so. The government's stance is that they had to wait for the full extent of the storm to become apparent before they could accept any offers, because they didn't really know what help they might need. So there's two school of thoughts on that, and I suppose, as always, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Let's go on to our next story now, and the cost of your bin being collected may be about to increase, unfortunately. Thousands of customers of the largest bin collection company in the state are to be hit with price rises from this week. Panda Recycling is to increase its prices at levels way above the rate of inflation. It comes just months after rival Greyhound Recycling imposed price rises on its customers. Panda, which has 300,000 household and business customers, has told its customers in North County Dublin it'll increase the half-year service charge, the general waste per lift charge and the recycling per lift charge. The rises take effect after next Saturday. Similar increases are expected to be announced for Panda's customers elsewhere in Dublin and those in Cork, Galway, Meath, Wicklow, Wexford and other areas where it operates. And I do believe they do have offer services here. The half-yearly service charge is going from €67.50 to €70 from Saturday. This is a 3.7% rise at a time when the consumer price index was up by 1.4% in the year to December. So it is going to increase, certainly in Dublin, but the paper suggests that those increases may be rolled out across the country elsewhere. I know yesterday morning, Monday morning, it was announced by the council, by the way, and I thought I'd bring this information to you. In response to an emerging humanitarian need, Donegal County Council have opened a helpline for those who need support following the impact of Storm Eowyn. The Community Response Support Helpline is available on 1-800-832-015. It runs from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. this week. Donegal Public Services Centre is located in Letterkenny, Milford, Donegal Town, Carndon and Dundlow, together with library services and the Donegal County Museum in Letterkenny welcomes anyone in need of Wi-Fi and charging facilities to call in during opening hours. Updates on individual library branch services available will issue throughout the week as branches open. So that's what's available now since yesterday. In fairness, there were churches and chapels and private businesses that were offering these services on Saturday. But anyway, better late than never. Are you familiar with this survey that tracks the attitude of people as they age? It's growing up in Ireland. This is the cohort of 98. They're 25 now. So they ask them questions every few years just to get a sense of what they feel about the country. And almost all 25-year-olds are concerned about housing, with the majority surveyed as part of the Growing Up in Ireland study still living with their parents and facing lower levels of mental health at 25 than at 20. A cohort of young people born in 98, have been surveyed at regular intervals throughout their lives, with a glimpse into their lives in their mid-20s, revealing how they fared so far in life. Almost all were concerned about housing. Nearly 3 in 5 graduated with a college degree, which is quite impressive. Mental health has declined in just 5 years. There's been a decline in the mental health of the group since they were 20 years old. Levels of self-reported depression, anxiety, stress and low self-esteem all increased in the space of 5 years. Educated men more likely to engage in dangerous drinking, believe it or not. At the age of 25, more than half of men with a college degree were found to be drinking alcohol at a level that is categorised as hazardous or dangerous by the World Health Organization. Income inequality already emerging. So at 25, the median weekly income from employment in 2022 for a respondent was €558, with significant income inequality already emerging in the group. Even at the age of 25, women experienced higher levels of economic hardship than men, reporting difficulties in making ends meet and skipping meals for financial reasons, which is quite interesting that there should be a difference between men and women just at the age of 25. You would think there's more equality in this day and age. 1 in 8 of those being surveyed have already emigrated. 1 in 8 of those contacted to take part had already emigrated by the age of 25, which is really quite a high figure. 1 in 8 people, if you think about it. I'm not sure how that is reflective of the national numbers. 7 in 10 women regularly felt discriminated against. More than 6 in 10 said they felt discriminated against at least a few times a year, with 69% of young women saying they regularly felt discriminated against. There you go. Quite interesting. Finally, there is concern in the voices, be the Antrim accents or Ballina brogues. There is fear afoot what may be on the way. Undocumented Irish immigrants, now, if they were in this country, and I don't mean this in any way disparaging, okay, it's just the interesting use of language. If they were in this country, they'd be called illegal immigrants. We call them undocumented Irish immigrants. If you see the Brits abroad, when they're in Spain or Portugal, they call themselves expats, but often too they're just immigrants, and in some cases illegal immigrants nowadays. But anyway, it's just interesting how and people would say it's justified because there's different circumstances, but we refer to us in America as undocumented Irish immigrants, whereas if people that come here without documents, they're called illegal immigrants. Following swiftly on from his inauguration on January 20th, Donald Trump wasted little time getting to grips with dozens of executive orders, some of which may sail through Congress barely opposed, while others will be challenged at every turn. With talk of extreme measures such as mass deportations, it's an unsettling time for many Irish-born residents of the United States who do not have US citizenship. So maybe some of you are listening potentially on the podcast or delayed because of the time differences, or maybe you have family over in America. Obviously, it can be quite a sensitive thing to talk about publicly because we're talking about people who are somewhere effectively illegally. But is there an increased concern? You can contact us in absolute confidence. Is there a concern that maybe the net might be closing? There was a period going back where people were being taken off buses and what have you. I'm not sure which administration was responsible for that. But are we going to see that again? I would not be concerned because it's clear, I think, from those that are being rounded up already, let me put it like that, they're focusing on illegal immigrants who have, or undocumented Irish, who have criminal records. Rightio, let's take a break. Back with our first guest very shortly here on Tuesday's 9 till noon show.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
2025 is here, and at Radisson Hotel and Spa Sligo, we're celebrating the new year in style. Book direct and save a minimum of 20% on bed and breakfast rates for a limited time only. Explore Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way and all that Sligo has to offer, with stay dates available throughout 2025. Book direct and save today at radsligo.com.
Our McCullough Jewelers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewelers, making moments magical for generations.
The biggest ever January sale is now on at Foy's with massive savings across every department. From stylish giftware and kitchenware to beautiful rugs, curtains and fabrics. Also great reductions in cushions, wall art, throws, home accessories and clearance furniture. For something special to transform your home, visit Foy's in Ballybuffet in Letterkenny today. Foy's, where style meets savings, bringing your home to life.
For an efficient, mild hybrid system that doesn't compromise on the joy of driving, test drive the Mazda CX-30. This compact, stylish SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty. Test drive the 251 Mazda range at McGinley Motors, Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It is 17 minutes past 9. Now, we're joined in studio by two guests. Claire McDonough, President of Letterkenny Chamber. Claire, thanks for your time. Good to have you with us.
Morning, Greg. Good to see you.
Tony Forrester, CEO of Letterkenny Chamber, is also with us. Thank you very much indeed.
Morning, Greg.
For joining us. Right, so the dust has settled, I suppose, on the election, and we now know the makeup of the Cabinet. And we did, for the last number of years, have representation at that cabinet through the offices of then Minister Charlie McConnell, but now we don't. So I suppose it's time for the autopsy on this, Claire. How significant do you believe it is that Donegal has been left without ministerial representation?
I think it's extremely serious, and I know the last couple of days we've been dealing with the fallout from the storm. People's attention, rightly so, have been on the immediate nature of that, but I think long term this is an extremely serious situation for Donegal. I think the lack of representation at the Cabinet for the county is not going to improve any of the ongoing issues we have, and the fact that the government has been formed now and they're looking at a 5-year period. We have another 5-year period ahead of us with no representation from Donegal. So I think when we look on balance at the last 10 years and looking at the infrastructure deficits that we have and the lack of balanced regional development and the movement that was made on that, which was close to zero, let's face it. So the next 5 years look quite bleak, if I'm being honest. Do you think it also perhaps talks to or reinforces that view that the Northwest is forgotten? In other words, if a government was looking at regional development and fairness, that they would say, well, we have to have someone in the Northwest because there's an awful lot of work to be done to bring that area up to, you know what I mean? So not just it being maybe an overlooking someone for a job. Are you of the view that maybe this gives us an insight into the attitude towards this region? Well, I think if you look at this critically, and we'll try not to look at it emotionally in terms of we're very proud of Donegal and we know we do well and we punch above our weight in lots of different areas. But if you look at the national issues that we have, the fact that the whole Dublin region is overcooking, you know, we can't get accommodation for teachers. We're talking about lots of infrastructure problems in and around the Dublin area. The balance to that, the solution to that in terms of housing and infrastructure is balanced regional development. They talk about that when we do, you know, Letterkenny Chamber has done visits to the Dáil, we've done position papers, we meet our local representatives. At every opportunity, when there's a minister comes to Donegal for whatever reason, we talk to them about the need for balanced regional development and the fact that it's not that we want the same share as everybody else, we actually want to be brought up to the same level starting point. So we make that point all the time. What I've found being in those rooms is that it's lip service. They say all the right things. They say absolutely Donegal needs ABC, but in the heel of the hunt, when the money's been divvied up, when the representation has been divvied out, as what happened last week, Donegal is far from the table, and that's very, very serious for us.
Is there any concern that relationships going forward could be strained, given that, objectively someone looking on could say that maybe the Chamber put all their eggs in the Sinn Féin basket. Obviously, well, it's only a question.
We don't
it's
think
not an
so.
accusation,
Absolutely
but
not.
I'm referencing back to the breakfast where Mary Lou McDonald was up, and the conversation. And it wasn't driven by the Chamber, but the conversation was effectively, this is what will happen when Sinn Féin's in power.
And at that point, they were the opposition. Mary Lou McDonald was the leader of the opposition. So, and in that sense, that was why we took that decision to hear from the opposition and lay out our stall, so that in advance of the election, should they get into power, they're very clear about what Donegal needs. So that was a strategic decision on our behalf. That wasn't us putting eggs in the basket. We talked to everybody.
Go ahead, Tony.
We've had Micheál Martin here. We have had in the past Leo Varadkar as Taoiseach at the time.
That's right,
time,
and we've had all these conversations. I've been to many things. I think the most recent one was a Western Development Commission, and we've had the North West Regional Assembly up talking to us. This has been going on for years. This lack of I suppose discrimination towards we need positive discrimination now. And I will be honest, in the Chamber I've always said, let's be positive, always positive, but it's becoming sort of evident to us now that, as Claire said, it's a bit of lip service. We love balanced region development. The last thing I was at, I actually spoke to a guy, I think he's now a minister, and he said, oh yes, of course we're doing balanced region development, and his whole speech was about that. But actually on the ground then, how do you see it? We still have to, and our council has to still fight for the same, that wee pot of money. And they still have to do everything.
And it's not a lack of awareness, obviously. Very strong representations have been made year on year by a group that is incredibly representative of business, because you've got the big multinationals, right? You've got the small
Very
meat.
deliberately,
So in other words, it's if I were looking to get a sense of what the situation is with business, there's not a better organisation than Letterkenny Chamber for that, because it's so representative. And with that in mind as well, a very detailed submission was put into the review of the National Planning Framework. So the ignorance is not a defence here, Tony. In other words, the decision makers, the powers that be, they know what's going on, and it's coming. The information is coming very considered and from a very trusted source.
Yeah. So the review of the National Planning Framework was a bit of a shock, I have to say, and they have brought out the next draft. And again, it has sidelined. We don't use those words lightly. It has definitely sidelined Letterkenny, but it's also sidelined the Northwest City region, this cross-border city region that we have. And all of a sudden, other places have started to come into the ascendancy. But in reality, they're looking at their 5 cities. And the 5 cities are getting the lion's share of everything. But yes, as you say, we are a representative body. Our larger companies always talk to us about the big issues. Small businesses do as well.
The big issues.
But the big issues, the infrastructure issues of not just locally here, but also how you get to your customer. How do you get to Dublin? How do you get to wherever you need to be? The housing crisis, really. And I know there's housing crisis all over the country. We have an extra added layer of that. I suppose our conversation last year was all about urgency. How do we get enthusiasm and urgency under some of these issues? And we're just not saying that we're necessarily getting listened to.
When we talk about the disparity between this region and other regions, Claire, is it in terms of attracting new business here? Is it a threat that maybe bigger businesses may look elsewhere, or not expand, or what have you? So when we talk about what are the on the ground disadvantages with, as the Chamber would see it, a focus on other areas, at the expense of Donegal?
I think there are 2 main areas. I think one is, and it's a bit like when we talk about our Chamber membership, one is maintenance and serving what we have, but also then the potential for growth. And I think when you look at the national picture and you look at the regions, as Tony said, the 5 cities that they're concentrating on, they are overcooking. And the balance to that and the solution to that is, where do we have capacity? There's capacity in Donegal. There's capacity for growth in housing, in infrastructure, in business and industry. It's all there. I think we as a business community, I'm not just talking about the Chamber, I'm talking about wider business and industry as well. I think we have a proven track record in really punching above our weight with one hand tied behind our back. We really do. When you look at even simple initiatives like Irish Shop LK, which is one very small thing that Letterkenny Chamber does. But we're doing that to try and give confidence into our region, and our members and our businesses here really support that. So well done to us for doing that. But I have to say that the effort that we're putting in locally, we're not seeing that mirrored at national level. And I do agree with Tony. At this stage, we'd have to say there's evidence of a centrist view in Dublin, that despite the fact that, we hear about buzzwords and, certainly balanced regional development, we hear about that all the time, but I don't see any evidence that in the National Plan Framework in terms of how they're planning that. We had a very good session with the North West Regional Assembly around what it would take to rebalance the country, what it would take in terms of infrastructure, and they talked about an immediate need for a major investment package. They actually estimated that at 570 million. Now that was for the northern and western region, and I actually think they're spot on. It's going to take a mammoth effort to actually begin to get us back to some sort of level playing field.
Yeah, because there are obvious gaps that make no sense. Even just the spend per student in third level education. Why is that? There's no. I don't understand why that might be.
For it.
It could only be some sort of neglect or a gap or whatever. The presence of professors north of a certain line, they're not there. But why is that? There's no. And then when we talk about what is the future for, the only major that I can see, obviously with the A5 and that's ongoing and what have you, but is like, say, for instance, the 10T. But we seem to be constantly battling with that, and there's no firm date. And, we're hearing metros going ahead, we're hearing other roads going ahead, things, but yet still the traffic situation in Letterkenny is not being looked at. The bypass of Ballabafay, connections to the A5, whenever. So it makes you wonder, well, why are they looking at a map and going, it's all right for a bit up there? Do you know what I mean, Tony?
Yeah, you sort of get that impression, to be honest. I think sometimes when, say, the 10T, for example, that has gone to Cabinet, has been approved to go to the next stage, it does take ages. And I get that. I get there's procedures. But I think sometimes they say, oh, that's that tick box done. So that's done. That's on its way. We don't need anything else. But we really, really do. I suppose when businesses come to look at regions, they're looking at the whole entirety of it. So they're looking at the security of their supply of electricity, which again, our grid system up here is not adequate. They're looking at broadband, probably one of the best things we have, I suppose. And they look at infrastructure. Like they have to get here somehow.
And housing.
Yeah,
but there is also, if you can't fix everything at the one time, right? But I think if you, and I have no knowledge of this, but it just feels like common sense, right? And this is what we see in other parts of the country. You're not going to fix the housing before you get businesses here, right? But if you sort other stuff out and then a business relocates there, the added interest in housing can drive it, because contractors have to decide where to build properties and all that type of stuff. They aren't necessarily going to build a ton of spare capacity on a whim, right? So there are certain things that have to move, or it would almost appear disjointed, but that's how you drive a region forward.
Yeah, but like electricity, for example. Yeah. We shouldn't be waiting for that. Our ordinary people need that.
Yeah,
so it's the whole West Coast really is the issue there. With housing, we have a crisis, we have a need, and we need to address that. We've asked the council countless times now to get an urgency around it, around our social housing, so that frees up some private sector housing. But I agree with you. It is a bit of a chicken and egg, but we've been sort of disadvantaged for so long now. I think we need this stimulus package or something like it to really get things moving. And
like
get
levelling
firm
up, like something we've seen levelling up in different countries, whereby
100%.
Nobody likes that term because it's associated with the UK, I suppose. But yes, it's that kind of thing. I mean, the Northwest Regional Assembly, said that's 2%. That figure Claire used, 570 million, is only 2% of the region's gross domestic product. That is tiny when you put it in this. But my chamber colleagues around the country, a lot of the stuff we're saying, they're saying the same. Well, I'm starting to hear, Cork starting to complain about development, and I think, well, where are we then? We're not even playing catch up here. And actually, all we want is the term used with our group the other day. It's not even about equality, it's equity. Equity of opportunity. And we want all your young people to have the chance to stay here and make a career for themselves.
Well, I spoke to students that were in Dunlow recently, and I spoke to other students in Milford and asked them little questions like this about their future and what have you. A lot of them, listen, there's always going to be a certain amount of people that want to travel. That's fantastic, right?
And you'd want
but
that.
what surprised me is the amount of them that are going to Galway or now Letterkenny or what have you to study and progress their career, and they would love to be in and around home, but the jobs just simply aren't there for them. Yeah. And also it's worth highlighting once again, Claire, that we're not talking about sort of 2010 here, where the whole country's sort of struggling for scraps here.
Absolutely.
What you were talking about here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there is investment, there's money being driven into the regions, and if you look at it as sort of, a 4-piece pie, the top left pie is not getting anywhere near as much as the rest.
Absolutely.
And that is an explanation for that is at the very least required, isn't it?
That's exactly it. And last year, we always have an annual trip to the Dáil, and we meet our representatives. Last year with the 2 elections, it was difficult to do that. Our hope was that we would have had some representation, somebody there to drive forward the issues, and to, as Tony said, to try and get dates on these things. Everything's very far in advance, very far in the future. All we're asking for at this stage is a recognition of the complete lack of infrastructure that we have. But it's not like we are saying, here's all the problems, we have no solutions. We actually know what the solutions are. We've researched them. We have a list of key tasks that need to happen. What we need is investment put alongside it and dates that are achievable. That's what we're asking for.
Was there a hope that the fantastic initiative of sort of developing Northwest City status, that would be sort of another excuse that couldn't be used, Tony?
I think
was there a sense that maybe that might have delivered more investment, be it from Belfast or Dublin?
I think we were hoping. Well, we still have that there. It's
that
still
hope
there.
is still there.
Yeah,
of
and
course,
it's still there. And we are. I think the thing is, the Northwest City region is actually more advanced in terms of its partnership, with the councils and stakeholders than other places like on the Eastern Seaboard. But for some reason, the Eastern Seaboard seems to make a lot of noise about it. But they have a motorway, they have rail, they have all of that. So we're still on the Northwest City region. We still think this makes up the largest urban conglomeration really between the two cities, between Letterkenny and Derry, and that actually makes itself a city. So that should be recognised as a proper city. And I noticed with the Irish government, recent just after the election, in the opening statements with the Taoiseach, there was a lot of talk about shared island and all of that. You can't just put it on one side of the border. You have to, if it's going to really be a shared island, it's shared. So we should, the cross-border piece. So if I'm not saying if just because Derry gets something, we should get something else, but it needs to be balanced.
Yeah.
We have a certain things happening, like veterinary school is really good news. But as you say, the ATU have been. Orla in particular has been talking about the amount of money per student.
Why
not just change that and move that up?
Also, sometimes if you listen to people and what they say, rural Ireland sometimes feels like the Healy Rays, burning turf, farming, fishing. That's sort of when and you hear it sometimes with national commentary as well. It doesn't talk to vibrancy,
but that
energy,
that's
education.
That's an oversimplification that really suits. That suits
but
central
do you get
government.
where I'm coming from?
100%.
We are so advanced. We're so clever.
Absolutely.
We're so keen.
I listen to this all the time, and I'm told that I'm involved with Chambers Ireland, so we get to do roundtables with ministers all the time, and they actually use those terms. Well, we're doing this for rural Ireland, and I keep looking at them going, have you actually been up in Donegal? Have you looked at Letterkenny recently? And because it's the biggest urban population.
So I get that from media get-togethers. They don't want to talk to me about big investments that they want to talk about. Cows and sheep.
Yeah, you're not a serious player.
Look what we have here: Centre of Engineering in Killybegs. We've got Letterkenny is the biggest urban centre. And yet we get talked about as if it's this rural
backwater.
And sure, will help your agriculture or your coast. But
But
like you would
business,
never put a
yeah.
minister for enterprise in Donegal, would you? Because
And why
silly.
wouldn't you?
Why
And
not?
why
Of
wouldn't you?
course.
You know, and this is
Yeah.
our starting point. You know, for this. You know, why wouldn't you? I mean, Letterkenny has a proven track record in industry. I don't see what the issue is. You know,
I would
but then-
genuinely be of the opinion, if I'm allowed to have one, that I said this on the show a couple of times. I'm not going to keep saying it. Whilst the decision making is made in that urban Dublin bubble, because they have a lot of them have a certain attitude towards us, and of course those that are reporting what they have to say are also sort of contained with that, with no disrespect, right? A psyche develops, you know what I mean, and we're seen as the cousin. Also too, and I think it's mentioned in the notes if I'm reading it correctly, which is a very interesting point as well. Actually, maybe saying, you know, the Northwest is a particular area that we could drive investment to be a particular area of expertise in one area or other. I don't know what it'll be. It'll probably be bloody wind. You know what I mean? But I'm on about something else. Do you know what I mean?
There's a big project going on about a super cluster for RegTech, which is regulation technology. And it's come out of some of those larger companies like Fintru and, you know, PGIM, TCS, all of those companies. They work in that kind of sector. So they've had a project and it's going along. That, again, needs serious investment. And that could be, we've all got together on this and think this could be a real game changer for our region, to give us a specialism in something. We know we do some things fabulously well, but how do we get, and that would be a world-class cluster. And it's been well researched. It was resourced to get to a certain point, and now we need to go to the next stage with it. So that's one thing, you know. But once you start having things like that in clusters, and even some of the companies we have now, other companies want to coalesce around those successful businesses. And as Claire said, like, we punch above our weight a lot, but we need to make sure that people understand that we are employing people up here, that we are up here, I hate that, but, you know, in Donegal, we're employing people. I love Donegal, but
I love
we're
up here
employing
phrase,
people.
but,
You know, our businesses are world-class businesses, some of them. They're selling
But
all over the
there
place.
are still a few underlying things which I must mention. We have the second highest rate of unemployment. We have the lowest incomes. We have the lowest disposable incomes. So there are still specific challenges that get lost in the 100%
And again, they're all
figures.
symptoms of where we're sitting right now, and the lack of investment we have.
And they put pressure on, you know, can we build more houses, private sector, because
And we
if
haven't
your
even
wages aren't high enough, then the house
And we haven't
prices-
even got into the conversation of access to
cyclical.
childcare and all that kind of stuff
All
as
of
well.
those
you
issues
know.
I could
are
be honest,
symptomatic.
Greg, all of this goes into our, you know, we do a budget submission every year, and I work with Chambers Ireland on their budget submission, and childcare comes quite high up throughout the country, and we try and emphasise. There's so many issues.
I mean, yesterday there was a child minding service. The employees would kill me if I said that. That was literally a slip of the tongue. But closed because the building's got defective concrete and it's not safe for it to go in and do an assessment, and we see that in other areas. Now, listen, lots of texts coming in critiquing or praising Charlie McConalogue and what he did or he didn't achieve. That's not really what we're talking about here, because I don't think users saying. I know he's not criticising, but it's not about the performance of a minister, it's the access to a minister, right? So even at the very least, it's about saying, well, we gave you that information, we expected you to filter that down to government. Now, if something comes of that, fantastic, but if it doesn't, it helps strengthen an argument going forward, and that's why that direct access to a cabinet table, it's not about whether you believe, the listeners believe or not, Charlie McConalogue was effective or ineffective. That's not the point.
That's not the point. That's not the issue. The issue for us is our government has set up its cabinet for the next 5 years. I'm sure there'll be a reshuffle within it. But within that, they did not see fit to have any representation from this county or indeed this region. And that, I think, that can't pass without us making the point that this is not acceptable.
Exactly, okay. And listen, you know, there'll be junior ministers announced to sort of appease regions or appease genders, right? But you can't be the full minister with...
Absolutely.
You know,
not
Remember,
when the
they're
agenda's there.
sitting at the cabinet table.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Now, do they always get the stuff done? Not always, but at least we know.
But you need to be in the room.
communication.
You need to be in the room.
Yeah, when we
and
go to visit Dublin or go to the Doyle, we can get access to that.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more access.
It's a big deal for an organisation like the Chamber to come out and, you know, speak so frankly. But you know what next? Because
Well, why wouldn't we? Our job,
No, of
really,
course.
Greg, is
Yeah.
to represent our members,
Well,
and
because
the voice
sometimes
of
you have
business is very important. And if Letterkenny thrives, Donegal
Of
thrives.
course you do, but
So-
sometimes you have to walk on eggshells and you have to sort of think.
And
no,
sometimes you
yeah.
have to call it out.
So it is. That's why I'm saying it's significant that you're speaking out now the way you are. But what next, though? You see, that is the problem. How do you progress this further? I mean,
And that's exactly it. Because we have tried every avenue open to us to date. We've done the Dáil visits, we've done the presentations, we've done the submissions, we've done the statements. So we'll be looking at this now very closely in the next couple of weeks as Chamber to see how can we reaffirm our message, how can we restate the key tasks that we think need to happen to ensure that this region gets the proper investment and opportunities.
because
that it
there's not a
deserves.
region in the country I think can offer the work-life balance, can offer the facilities of Letterkenny and other towns, and then the wonder of nature. Our broadband connectivity is pretty good, but it could always be improved. It really has the potential. Because we've a ton of capacity here, we're not going to be overrun, but
And
it's
that's
the potential
the point that really
to
confuses me. Is if I was at central government and I'm looking at the areas of the country that are overcooking, that don't have capacity, and I'm looking at this wonderful region up in Donegal that does have capacity, I'd be thinking, here's the solution to a lot of my
our
issues.
fundamental problem here is there's 40,000 votes. And in Dublin, there's 1.5 million votes.
Yeah.
In Cork, there is, 800,000 votes.
No,
There's
understand that.
There's
At the end of the day,
40
it's a political system.
But that shouldn't be the way it is.
shouldn't be,
There's
yeah.
40,000 odd, 50,000 odd votes in Donegal. That's it. And you still can deliver 2 government representatives out of that.
Politics shouldn't really necessarily. Government should be about all people.
Yeah,
I know that sounds very
No, but I should be
evangelistic of me.
23, Tony.
Well, exactly, and I should be 10. I don't know, 25. I quite like being. But you kind of. That's the problem. It shouldn't be about whether I've got 2 ministers, but the reality is, I look at my colleagues in some of the cities, and they can just get the minister, the Taoiseach, the Taoiseach to turn up at anything. We have to kind of plan that 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose to speak to what you've said, what do you do next? We'll keep on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We'll talk to our stakeholders. We will maybe get a bit more involved with that and really try and punch this through. And at every opportunity, I'm on Chambers Ireland board. If I get an opportunity to be in a room with ministers, I will be pushing forward for this region.
Because there are, often the voices and faces of this conversation are the likes of yourselves or me interviewing or whoever might be interviewed. But, it's when you go to sort of, I don't know how you describe them, like industry days or talks or seminars or things like that there. And the really big hitting people that have the experience and the money and the energy to try and drive something into this region, and really what they need is sort of state support to do it. You know what I mean? And we don't often hear from them, but there's an amazing groups of individuals that you would know who I'm talking about.
One of our, I think at one of our last our business lunches that we do every year, President's Lunch, we can hear that from them. And our business community across the board really aren't complainers. Like, they don't sort of sit in the room and go, "Oh, I can't do anything," and nobody's giving me business. They're off out getting the business.
Yeah.
They're changing and they're employing people, and all they're saying is, when could we have this infrastructure delivered? When do you think that could be? And some of them have been around for a fair amount of time, just like me. And I suppose they're getting aggravated, but they can't as a business go out and be negative about that. And I suppose that's the same as the Chamber. It is unusual for us to come out with a statement quite as strong as this, because we do these statements all the time. Sorry, that sounds stupid.
No, but it's sentiment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I mean, obviously you're not going to talk things up falsely, right? But if you talk of the positives and what we have here and all that sentiment, it affects sentiment, right? So as soon as then we start talking about something that's slightly on a bigger scale, then you think, well, is this going to affect sentiment? Is this going to make people spend less? Is this going to make so? I get that, and I think the listeners get that. So you have to. There's a line for you to tread, but I think it's clear now. You come to a point whereby, we can still talk things up, but we also maybe have to discuss a reality that's.
And as we said, it's about action. Let's see the action you're going to take for us now in the next 5 years.
And I suppose to sum it up, that's our job now in relation to this issue, is to try and hold our government to account when they say that they believe in regional balanced development.
Yeah, what's it look like?
What do they mean?
Well, and you've put a figure on it. It looks like 570 million.
And we've even given them steps as to how to do it.
Okay, that's no bother to you. All right, thanks so very much
Thank you
indeed.
for
Claire
highlighting
McDonough,
it.
President of Letterkenny Chamber, Tony Forrester, CEO of Letterkenny Chamber, representing businesses not just in Letterkenny but all across the county. All right, we'll be back with more in the programme after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Electric Ireland Superhomes can help you achieve a cosier, healthier and more energy efficient home, and one with less carbon emissions. They look after your home's retrofit from start to finish, including management of SEAI grants. Visit electricirelandsuperhomes.ie and start your journey to a superhome today. Grants offered are provided by the Government of Ireland through the SEAI.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Pyrex kitchenware is all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price Pyrex kitchenware is gone, it's gone. Also, all rugs, all home gym equipment and all artificial plants and flowers are still all half price. But when all the half price rugs, home gym equipment and artificial plants and flowers are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores. Treat yourself this bank holiday with a can of your favourite Pringles, now half price. And stock up with refreshing Coke Zero and Diet Coke 18 can packs, now only €10. Plus, save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Big news, Letterkenny. McCabe's Pharmacy is here, and we're officially Ireland's largest, most patient-focused pharmacy brand, with over 110 stores nationwide. Whether you're picking up your prescriptions, stocking up on your winter vitamins, or treating yourself to much-needed self-care essentials, here at McCabe's Pharmacy, we have you covered. Call into us on Pierce Road, Letterkenny. Download our brand new app, or visit mccabespharmacy.com for more information. You're amazing. Let's keep you that way.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
PDO thread lifts and skin boosters, which rejuvenate the skin by improving facial contours, lifting and tightening the jowls, neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. To choose the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic, Gweedore. 07495 325 75.
This fire grate's burnt out again.
I told you, get a heavy duty grate from Fire Grates Donegal.
But I need one right away.
Sure, they have them in stock and ready to go for stoves, open fires, back boilers, ranges, and they even make them to measure.
OK, what's their number?
Hold on a minute, I'll go and get it.
Fire Grates Donegal. Call 086 860 2012 or find them on Facebook. Fire Grates Donegal also deliver to your door. So you couldn't beat that.
Joe Gallagher Entertainments presents Europe's #1 tribute to Johnny Cash. Clive John brings a Johnny Cash roadshow with special guest Trevor Smith and his tribute to Garth Brooks to the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny on Saturday the 22nd of March. A fast-paced, energetic two-band show playing all the hits of the legend that was Johnny Cash and Garth Brooks on one stage. Tickets on sale now from hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie.
Why settle for a happy new year when you could have a hybrid new year with the new Nissan Qashqai with e-Power? Relaxation and excitement, spacious and sleek, safe, smooth, serene, and thrilling, adventurous, and of course efficient. Make 2025 a hybrid new year with the new Nissan Qashqai with e-Power. Hybrid driving reinvented. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from mcelhenneys.com.
So, normal weather, I suppose, given what we've been through. A breezy day today with showery outbreaks of rain at first, followed by scattered showers and sunny spells this afternoon. Temperatures 6 to 8 degrees. But the fallout from the storm continues. Philomene joins me on the show now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
It's sort of like Back to the Future for you guys, out with electricity again for not the first time, but we'll talk about that in a mo. What is the situation at the moment up at Malin Head?
Well, we're the last three houses in Ballyhillion. We have no electricity. There's a wire broke across at the bottom of the road. So the rest of Ballyhillion went on last night, but we're still out. We're going on day 6 now without electricity. We've no electricity, obviously. That powers our heat, our water. So we've had no water for 6 days. We've had no heat for 6 days. We're the most northerly B&B in Ireland on the Wild Atlantic Way. We have had to cancel gas. We are also looking after my wife's father, who's on a panic button. So when he presses that panic button, and the people at the end phone us, they can't phone us because there's no phone line. So we're stressed out, and I'd say more so on the panic button. We go up twice a day normally, but we've started to go up 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times a day. It's putting, it's ramping up the pressure. Not having washed for 6 weeks, maybe I could not wash, or 6 days, maybe I could not wash for. But it's all just the house is starting to get really cold now.
Yeah.
It sounds. I don't want to get into the ESB are not doing their job. They are doing their job. The ESB, the men and women on the ground are doing a great job, because on Friday everybody in any show was basically out of electricity, and a lot of those people are back on. It's just the ends.
You see,
the end of the line.
It's a little bit more frustrating for you, I think, because, often when we're sitting in the house in the dark, you don't know when the power is going to come on. You don't know if it's a tree 2 miles up the road or a post outside. But you can see the wire. You know the wire that's disconnected, and that wire being connected is the difference between having all your services back and not. So I imagine it's particularly frustrating.
On the Friday morning, I went down the road. There was a wire across the road, and I didn't want to cross it, obviously. So, but there it's the tower. There were people still coming, and I could see cars crossing the wire. So I goes, well, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. But I immediately thought, the ESB would know that. So the wire's still across the road at 8 o'clock at the Friday night. And I phoned up the ESB, and it wasn't until the next day they came out. So it was quite a dangerous situation. They were asking me, could I see was it arcing? And it obviously wasn't, because the electricity was off. But, these sort of things, I have a feeling. I've been on with you before. Last year we were out of electricity 6 days or more. Last year, this is a continuous thing. I think personally the hardware isn't up to scratch. The power went out for us last year is in the same place.
Yeah.
And we're here 5 years, and we've been having the same problem, and it seems to be whether there's not enough hardware. It's obviously, on one side of us, it's a quarter of a mile to the sea. On the other side of us, it's 200 metres to the sea. We're in a very exposed. And they can't blame trees, because there isn't no trees. The only trees out in Ballyhillion is the trees I planted. I planted 300 trees when we came. And they're not interfering with the electricity lines, so they can't blame the trees. I know the trees are a problem,
but in your case, it's clearly not. Philomene, listen, it's 3 houses, so you might be at the end of the list. I hope you're not. Especially, did you did you tell the ESB of your father-in-law's situation? Because
yes,
maybe he
I did.
might be prioritised because of that.
No, yes, I did. And, like, we have a tendency to blame the gatekeeper. Probably in my first rant today, I've been talking to them 3 or 4 times, but they're just at the end of the phone. I don't know that they're just answering. I don't think there's enough priority on that. There was a helpline. I'll give Albert Doherty sent me a number for a helpline yesterday for the council. I phoned up that council, and I got it was a council house. I said, no, we're not in the council house. So I phoned back, and I got another number, a 1-800 number, phoned back. The lady on the front desk hadn't a clue what I was on about.
Okay.
She eventually, I said, is there anybody, you could, and she eventually got through to a woman who was very, very nice, who says, oh, that number's not up and running. And there's an emergency meeting yesterday at 4 o'clock, and they would be putting things. So they're putting numbers up for, things that aren't even functioning.
Well,
and that just makes it...
I know, it's very frustrating, fellow me. Listen, we will make inquiries with the ESB to see what the situation is. For now, hopefully it's back soon. As I say, obviously, cold house, no power,
they're saying it's Friday.
Right. Well, but Friday's a blanket one, you see. For the complicated jobs that they think they'll get to this week, it's Friday, and then there's another date for others. So, I mean, that's not set in stone either. But, fellow me, listen, I do have to go. Thank you for that.
Greg,
can I say very briefly? Yeah,
Greg,
please.
can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
I'm no clairvoyant, but next year, the electricity will be out, and the hardware at the bottom of our road will be out again.
Okay,
and that's like...
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There has to be some... it's not solution-based. There are no solutions.
Okay, fellow mate, thank you for your time. I sense your frustration, and I'm sorry for having to move it along. It's just that we do have the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Go full Lidl with these bank holiday winners. Fry this on for size with our deluxe breakfast bundle, Irish black or white pudding with Board B approved Irish sausages and bacon for under €4, only on Lidl Plus. And get rugby ready with our adults and kids Irish rugby kits from $3.99. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl this bank holiday.
That's the sound of someone sleeping soundly on a Restex mattress. Choose from the Donegal range. A Teelan, a Kinnigo, or a Mulroy mattress. It'll change the way you sleep forever. Restex beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. Amazing prices on made-to-order kitchens, sliding wardrobes and much more. Don't miss your chance to transform your home at unbeatable prices. Book your appointment today at cherrymore.ie or call 07497 25822. Cherrymore, 28 years of adding quality and value to your home.
Looking for fresh, local, convenient shopping? Mabel Stores have you covered across Donegal. From Burtonport to Ballyliffin, Carrigart to Castlefin, your local store is always nearby. Proudly Donegal owned, we're also in Moville, Milford, Derrybeg and Falcarra. From apples to AdBlue, we have everything you need whenever you need it, whilst proudly supporting local suppliers. Check out your local Mabel Store on Facebook for weekly offers and promotions. Oh, and we also sell fuel too. Mabel Stores. Fresh, convenient, local.
The Smart #1 comes with more. More space, like much more. More room for kids, shopping, luggage, even the dog. More tech. More of that Mercedes-Benz design with up to €9,800 savings and 0% finance. It's the all-electric Smart #1. Now with more car. Find out more at smartelectric.ie or visit your local Mercedes-Benz dealer while stocks last. €9,800 saving includes 3,500 SEAI grant, 3,500 Smart Sustainability promotion and 2,800 applicable VRT relief.
You can't predict a minor injury or illness, but you can be sure of Ophelia Letterkenny's MIU walk-in service. Our priority is to see all patients within 1 hour, from minor illnesses to cuts and breaks, sports and limb injuries to minor burns. Ophelia Letterkenny MIU, located in Scally Place. Accidents don't wait for an appointment. Neither should you.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A man whose son was killed in the Omagh bombing says the public inquiry getting underway today will hopefully be the beginning of the end after years of campaigning. It'll examine whether the bombing, which was the biggest single atrocity of the Troubles, could have been prevented. Chelsea Keeley has more.
29 people, including a woman expecting twins, were killed in the real IRA car bomb on August 15th, 1998. Michael Gallagher, whose son Aidan was killed, says the journey to get here has been long and difficult.
I think the wounds have never really closed. I mean, we live with it every day. We've got an empty chair around our table. What you do in those type of situations is, you don't move on, but you learn to manage your life in a way that you can live. And that's what we have had to do.
The inquiry is set to last several weeks.
Letterkenny Chamber has expressed concern at the loss of a cabinet seat in Donegal. Chamber President Claire McDonough says the past 10 years saw relatively little infrastructural development in the county, and without cabinet representation for the next 5 years at least, the situation is looking very bleak. Speaking on today's 9 till noon show, she said lip service is being paid to the concept of balanced regional development, but there is very little delivery.
At every opportunity, when there's a minister comes to Donegal, we talk to them about the need for balanced regional development. It's not that we want the same share as everybody else. We actually want to be brought up to the same starting point. What I've found being in those rooms is that it's lip service. They say all the right things. They say absolutely Donegal needs ABC, but in the heel of the hunt, when the money's been divvied up, when the representation has been divvied out, as happened last week, Donegal is far from the table, and that's very, very serious for us.
Almost 11,000 homes, farms and businesses remain without power in Donegal. ESB crews are back on the ground this morning in a bid to restore power to the 10,750 affected premises. Widespread and extensive damage was caused to power lines across the county by Storm Éowyn on Friday. At its peak, around 87,000 properties were affected. Emergency crews from the Netherlands, France, Austria and Finland are arriving today to provide assistance to the ESB. Investigations are continuing after a 13-year-old boy was seriously injured following a suspected fall from an e-scooter in Buncrana yesterday. Emergency services were elected shortly after 4:45 after the teenager was found unresponsive in the Linsford area. He was treated at the scene before being transferred to Letterkenny University Hospital, where he remains in a serious condition. The scene has been preserved for technical examination and the road remains closed with local diversions in place. Garda are appealing to anyone who witnessed the incident or any road users with camera footage to come forward. Donegal County Council has agreed to write to the HSC to seek clarity over the dispatching of ambulances. It's after assistance from the National Ambulance Service was denied last week in response to a fire which completely destroyed a house in Falcara. Homeowner Kathleen had a lucky escape when the blaze broke out on Thursday morning. She's currently receiving treatment at Letterkenny University Hospital, where family members were forced to transfer her themselves due to the absence of an ambulance. It's understood the fire service requested an ambulance twice. Well, Councillor Michael McLafferty says there are serious questions that need to be answered.
We need to get this aired out going forward. Is this going to happen again? Or can all of us rest assured if we ring 999 in the future if we need to, are we going to get an ambulance or not in the Falcara area or Glenties area? And that's the purpose of asking the council to write this letter today, to get a definitive answer, get a clear answer and get an explanation as well. The family, first and foremost, the family and the patient in question needs an explanation themselves of what happened.
A Derry councillor has been suspended from the SDLP after providing a court reference for an Irish soldier who was recently jailed for the rape of another member of the Defence Forces. Brian Tierney, a former member of Derry and Strabane, a former mayor, of Derry and Strabane, last week apologised for the reference he issued for 30-year-old Keelan Mooney, of Bloomfield Park, Derry, which he later withdrew. The SDLP has described it as a grave error of judgment. Councillor Tierney says he's made the very difficult decision to step aside as an SDLP councillor after reflecting on the situation over the past few days. And Derry City and Strabane District Council is being urged to support efforts to tell the story of Sister Claire Crockett. Councillor Aisling Hutton believes, following the declaration of the Derry woman as a servant of God, the council should seek to assist those who continue to share her message and aim to see her legacy into sainthood. Councillor Hutton says the life story of Sister Crockett has the power to inspire young people to follow their dreams.
I just think that it's just an amazing story, how far that Sister Claire's name has come from being that wee girl that lived in the Brandywell, and her outlook in life. She wanted to be an actress, and she'd actually been offered a job with a Nickelodeon channel just before she joined the sisterhood. It's really positive messaging, and it's teaching young people that you can dream of something and go and fulfil that dream.
Weather forecast breezy with showery outbreaks of rain this morning, followed by scattered showers and sunny spells this afternoon. Top temperatures today 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. Check all the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, before the headlines at 11, good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Tuesday morning, January the 28th. The death has taken place of Kasper Dudek, 18, Beechwood Park, Lifford, and formerly Brody, Poland, reposing at his home from 4 o'clock this afternoon. Fiona leaving his home on Thursday morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlough, Lifford at 10:30. Cremation afterwards in Lakelands Crematorium. Family time please from 10 o'clock to 12 noon. No flowers please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Robert Henry Byers, known as Roy, Town Parks Refoe. His remains will repose at Terence McClintock's funeral home, Ballybow Convoy, from 2 o'clock until 9 o'clock today. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock for 2 o'clock service of Thanksgiving in Refoe Presbyterian Church, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to Refoe Presbyterian Church, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. The death has occurred of Kathleen Coyle, Drumeennan, St Johnston. Kathleen's remains will repose at her late residence in St Johnston today from 2 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving her late residence tomorrow morning at 20:11, going to St Bathan's Church, St Johnston for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with private cremation to take place in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Joseph's Community Hospital, Stranorlar, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. The death has occurred of Josephine Doherty, née Doherty, Drumbo Cottages, Stranorlar, reposing at her late residence today from 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on churchservices.tv. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of John Coyle, Churlochan, Carrigard. Cremation this evening at 5 o'clock in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. The death has occurred of Anthony Sharkey, Braj, Kincashla. Anthony's remains will repose in McGlynn's funeral home today from 4 o'clock until removal at 5:30, going to the Star of the Sea Church, Annagry, where he will repose overnight. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Sarah McGettigan, née Boyle, Bomini, Letterkenny, formerly Creeslaw. Requiem Mass today at 12 noon in St Mary's Star of the Sea Church, Glenbar. Burial afterwards in Glenbar Cemetery. Mass can be viewed on Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family time please before the funeral today. Family flowers only please. Donations if desired to the Oncology Ward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Patsy Duffy, 16, Art McCool, Stranorlar. Funeral leaving McCool's Chapel of Rest, Ballybuffet, this morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 o'clock. Interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu of flowers if so desired to St Joseph's Community Hospital, Stranorlar, care of any family member. Family time please before the funeral this morning. The death has taken place of Vincent McDade, Farna Ramelton, reposing at his home. Requiem Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Ramelton. Burial afterwards in Killydonnell Cemetery. Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time please before the funeral this morning. And the death has taken place of Helen McCarthy, née Kelly, Belfast, formerly of Anna Clonmany, County Donegal. Helen's cremation will take place in Belfast at a later date and will be private to family members only. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Ever considered what a farmer, a retailer and an ice cream van owner have in common? They all rely on this planet. Every business does. That's why AIB is here to help. Our Green Living Hub has the practical knowledge and support businesses need to become more sustainable. Search AIB Green Business to find out more. AIB, for the life you're after. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're into the second hour. Coming up shortly after the bingo numbers, in fact, we will have Community Garda Information. Garda Maguire will be in studio with the latest appeals and information. Some very important appeals, as they all are, of course. And the Gardaí continue to investigate all manner of crime and what have you. And any bits of information that you have that can help progress that, incredibly important. So please stay tuned for that. Right. Hi, Greg. Any idea when landline phones will be going again? It's a toughie. I'm sorry, I don't have any specific information. With the ESB and with Uisce Éireann, you do get some guidelines. With phone lines, it's very, very different. Is it a line that's down? Is it a pole that's down? Is it a power issue? It's very hard for me to get anything that is of use to you in that regard, so my apologies. Another listener says, trees growing up through power lines, never checked or cut, years old, no work on the ground as a result. We're going into 4 days now without heat, lights and food. It is a joke, that listener says. Good morning, Greg. A massive thank you to the ESB workers for getting the power restored on Friday midnight, as it was just out from 8. I'm in Rathmullen. Thanks, Danny. Danny, you were very lucky. Fair play, and fair play to the teams, of course. Dara O'Brien is right. They make no difference. Why don't they just stay away until they need us to vote again? They are a disgrace on the world stage, thanks to the internet, and should be ashamed to show their faces, but they have no shame or decency, just pure arrogance, and hopefully this behaviour will open more people's eyes. This is Dara O'Brien that said that just be talking in the Dáil, and perhaps there was no need for them to come back. An opinion piece on that is that sometimes it's not actually what difference it will make. It's perception and it's reality and it's togetherness. Now, what we have seen over the last 5 or 6 days is communities coming together, people helping each other out. We've seen the gratitude and admiration of those working hard on the ground, whether it's home helps that are getting to see someone in dangerous conditions, whether it is those ESB crews, whether it's the doctors and nurses that made their way to the hospital to look after us if we get sick. We banded together. We helped each other. Last night, I was able to connect another hard-pressed couple with accommodation offered to them free of charge in the local area. We had managed that with 4, 5 or 6 families of young children, just by using the social media and effort and communication, getting another desperate couple into comfortable accommodation. That's what we've done together. That's what we do together. And this is where I believe, if I were advising the government, and I never would, you see, if the Dáil came together, if all the people that we voted for were to all get into that room and empathise with us, maybe advocate for those in rural areas, particularly, maybe sympathise with those with no water, saying that, look, we understand the problem here. We're working with our colleagues on the other side of the house to try our best, working together as a unit. That is so important. And it worries me that someone like Minister O'Brien doesn't see that it's not actually what they could do, it's actually how it would look and how it would feel like we're banding together and we're all working together to the one end. And would that fix anything more quickly? Probably not. Would it make people feel more part of the greater problem? Yes, and I think particularly in more rural and western parts of the country. So I thought really Dara O'Brien's commentary on that was quite the curtain being pulled back, because maybe he doesn't understand that it's the perception and it's the sense of community and reality and banded together, and not the fact that standing up in the Dáil would actually achieve anything. I could be wrong. That's just my read as a regular citizen. I heard them on the news this morning, Greg, about they're going to cut down all the dangerous trees in Donegal. Well, that was a proposal from one councillor. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen. But I read on. Go and say that to that young man's parents. God bless him. Typical, too little, too late. Sorry for bringing this up in the same conversation, but it's the same as defective concrete houses. Nothing will be done until a house collapses and wipes out an entire family, and then all our great TDs will be on the bandwagon. We'll do this, we'll do that. As usual, too little, too late. They'll do nothing. They'll say nothing because they're good for nothing. Sorry if you think I'm being a bit harsh, Greg, but I'm only saying out loud what anyone living in a defective concrete house is thinking. I mean, it's your view. It's not. It's harsh in that it's quite pointed at certain people, but it is your view. Please give a big shout out to Bridie Proctor on Ironmore, who's celebrating her 88th birthday today. Bridie's a wonderful mum, nanny and great grandmother, and remembers everybody's birthday. She deserves a big hug today. Love the Loch Nanes in London, and I would say Bridie's one of those ones that has something for everyone at Christmas too. Right, sorry, moving on back to comments here. Yes, Greg, 2 chamber representatives on, and you're the only one that mentioned the Bonagee bypass. I'm sure it would have come up in the course of the conversation. We were without power till yesterday. I'm sure a lot more could be a lot longer, unfortunately. And a lot of those outages are caused by fallen trees and also as blocked roads falling on homes and sheds, etc. This is a serious problem. And after the storm, hundreds more are sitting there ready to fall whenever the next storm comes. Now, I hope a full evaluation of trees near power lines has been done. And I'll tell you a concern I would have as well. At the moment, a lot of these trees don't have foliage. They don't have leaves. And, you know, as spring comes, they will grow leaves, they'll get heavier. And, you know, we get a bit of a spring storm. God knows what might happen then. So I really think that people are correct in saying that we really need to do a full evaluation of trees on our roadsides. And if that means incentivizing landowners, well, then perhaps so be it. Regarding the TD who said talking in the door wasn't going to help the storm, says a listener, the word empathy isn't even in his vocabulary. Considering they did not bring in any generators or equipment that were offered to help the country, Donegal have always been sheep. My grandfather and father voted Fianna Fáil. They'd have voted for a monkey. If any government that can ignore 33.8% of the vote is not fair, the Sinn Féin supporters need to be recognised. That's not really... More people voted for the 2 big parties, and I was saying it in the run-up to the election that was the likely outcome, because for some people, a lot of people are comfortable and they don't want change, and they believe it's better the devil you know, and I don't say that in any way disparaging, and yet here we are. Hi, good morning. I'm just wondering if you could ask if anyone knows if someone applied for the humanitarian fund that's been spoken about and received money to help replenish some of the food stuff they lost because of the power cuts. Will they have to pay that money back like they would if received the supplementary welfare payment? We'll dig into that a little bit. There's a form that was that's on my the link to it on my Facebook. I think it went on the Highland Facebook as well. And it's a form you print out, you fill out, and you take it to your local social welfare office or officer, and you can get immediate funding, because there's lots of people who lost, you know, €200 or €300 of food in a freezer, if it's a big freezer, you know what I mean, and it's not usable anymore, and they don't have the money to replenish it. So that scheme is there. Has anyone availed of it? Do you know if you have to pay it back? Does it go against future payments? I'm not sure, but I don't think it's actually linked to welfare payments. I think anyone can actually apply for that. There should be a Northwest specific startup incubator with investment opportunities. Good idea. We are in Europe around the same time as Spain. How come the road structure is fabulous with great motorways and overheads compared to our road structure to date, asks a listener. And on it goes. They keep coming in. We really appreciate it. We'll get to them. Stay right where you are. But we're going to take a break, and after that we're back with Community Garda Information.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 28th of January. You're playing on the brown sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S2. It's game number 5. The numbers are 33, 38, 90, 41, 52, 12, 11, 80, 81, and finally 28. Phone your claim to 910-4833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Having COVID-19 symptoms or testing positive can be worrying, but knowing your risk level helps. Visit knowandgo.ie to find out if you're at risk of developing severe COVID-19. Call your healthcare professional to seek clinical assessment and advice if you contract COVID-19 and are at high risk for developing severe COVID-19. This message is supported by Pfizer Healthcare Ireland.
All I want is my favourite bowl, Flavin's porridge to warm the soul. Such a creamy spoonful, oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Creamy porridge is what I'd like. That and a baby that sleeps at night. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Lovely, doubly, lovely. Only Flavin's double bake their oats for creamier porridge.
At DoorTech Garage Door Systems in Kilmacrennan, we specialise in the supply and installation of all types of industrial roller doors and garage doors. Whether for your home, business or farm, our doors offer the security you need. For premium quality doors, call DoorTech on 9139941 or visit doortech.ie.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie. Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The Community Garda Information Slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
Right, you're very welcome back to the programme. Tuesday, 28th of January. It is time for this week's edition of Community Garda Information, and we welcome into studio with us today Garda Niall Maguire from the Falcarra station. Niall, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning to your listeners.
Quite a lot to get through, and we'll start with, very sadly, a fatal road traffic incident at Feddiglass.
Yeah, I suppose this has been well reported, and I heard that on your obituaries there, the details of young Casper Dudek's arrangements for today and his funeral. It's so sad, Greg, and I suppose we just wanted to pass on our own sympathies at this stage to Casper's family, friends and colleagues for their loss. A family liaison officer has been assigned to provide support to the family of Mr. Dudek, so rest in peace. That leads us on then, Greg. That investigation is ongoing, Greg, and we have made previous appeals in relation to it. And it's fairly obvious, I think, what happened in relation to that incident. Moving on, Greg, there was yesterday evening at 4:45 p.m. My colleagues in Buncrana were alerted. Unfortunately, a 13-year-old young male was found unresponsive after an apparent fall from an e-scooter on a local road at Linsford. He was treated at the scene before being transported by ambulance to Letterkenny Hospital. His condition is understood to be serious, unfortunately. So that's a fall from an e-scooter. The scene has been preserved for a technical examination by my forensic collision investigator colleagues, and the road still remains closed and local diversions are in place. And I don't know, Greg, when that road will be open. It depends on the forensic investigation.
Given the way the appeal has been worded, is the circumstances surrounding this incident ongoing? Is there any concern or that another vehicle may have been involved, or are all avenues being sort of explored at this time?
The information I have, Greg, at this stage is that it was a fall from a scooter. It's very early days. This only happened at 4:45 p.m. And I suppose I would like to just appeal to anybody that may have been in Linsford and maybe witnessed this, and they may have had a dash cam or actually saw this happening. Please maybe contact my colleagues in Buncrana on 074 93 20540, or again, any of my appeals today can be made confidentially to the Garda Confidential line on 1800 666 111, or indeed any Garda station or any Garda.
Investigations continue into a serious incident in Lifford earlier this month.
Again, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this one. That's been well reported, but I suppose we still need to piece together some parts of the puzzle. So this happened on Monday the 20th of January when two men were very seriously assaulted at a house around 10 a.m. One man, aged in his 20s, was airlifted to the Royal Victoria Hospital for treatment for his injuries. The second man, aged in his 60s, was brought by ambulance to Letterkenny for treatment of less serious injuries. And unfortunately, the man in his 20s still remains very seriously injured in hospital. So again, any witnesses or any information in relation to this, or anybody that may have been in the Connyborough Road area in Lifford between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Monday the 20th of January, please make themselves known, or any footage available to that would have been on that road in Connyborough Road between 10 and 11. Please make that available to my colleagues in Letterkenny, and you can contact them on 074 916 7100, or indeed the confidential line.
And just to reiterate, the Garda have experts in regards to if you notify them of dashcam footage or other video footage of acquiring that footage from you, it's something that the Garda will do and make it as simple as is possible. Back to your colleagues in Ishone and an alleged assault being investigated.
Yes, on Sunday the 26th of January at approximately 3:30 a.m, a man reported to us that he was standing outside a takeaway at that location when he was approached from behind by a group of males and females who proceeded to assault him. He sustained injuries which, as a result of this incident, none of which are life-threatening in nature, but we would like to find out who did this, and we appeal to anybody who may have witnessed the incident to make contact with us. So if anybody travelled at Main Street, Buncrana, and witnessed this, or again had a dash cam between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Main Street, Buncrana, please make that available to the Garda in Buncrana. Again, 074 932 0540.
Now down to Letterkenny and a burglary investigation.
Yes, crazy one, Greg. At Kelly Laston area of Letterkenny between 5 p.m. on Friday the 20th of January, and then this was discovered at 8 a.m. yesterday morning, Monday the 27th of January. Entry to the site was gained after a lock was broken and a number of new builds, unfortunately, were entered and had their doors smashed. Lights were stolen from within some of the houses, and a tower light was also stolen from the site. You know, these kind of tower light things, Greg. I'm not sure, I don't have the details of the maker model, but these things are for lighting up sites, and they have multiple LED lights on the top. So if anybody observes suspicious activity in that area, or if they can assist with any relevant information, please contact my colleagues in Letterkenny.
Yeah, those lights quite distinctive. Not the type of thing regular people have knocking around the place, and if someone tried to pass them on, it should seem pretty obvious. And also in a housing crisis, some new building going on, and then people go in and do this. It's crazy.
Yep.
Altogether. Right, Linsford, a burglary being investigated there.
Yes, this occurred on Friday the 24th of January at approximately 8:40 p.m. in the area of Druminner, Linsford, Buncrana. A shed door lock at the property was broken and entry was gained, but nothing was stolen from within. This happened between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. So if anybody was in the area of Druminner and noticed maybe a person that is described as well covered up, now they were wearing a black hoodie and the hood was up, a navy body warmer, black trousers, black gloves, and a snood over his face, and a torch headlight on his forehead. So somebody dressed all in black with gloves and the face covered, but they were wearing a torch headlight on their forehead. If anybody's observed a man matching this description, so again, this is in the middle of the storm, please contact my colleagues in Buncrana on 074 9320 540.
Yeah, and as nondescript as it might seem, that is really quite distinctive clothing at a distinctive time in the middle of a red warning. So hopefully, someone saw something.
Yes,
there.
You never know. Some of the neighbours might have something on their if they have cameras or doorbell cameras or something. They could maybe please check that.
Right, Navanny Car Park next.
Yes, Navanny Car Park, Balbuffet, between 10 p.m. on Saturday the 25th of January, midday on Sunday the 26th of January. A car which had been parked at that location was entered after the rear windscreen was smashed and the front windscreen was also cracked. for whatever reason. 2 golf clubs were stolen from the car, and a skateboard, which was blue and white in colour with Filipino text and a graphic of a hand. So that's a skateboard with some kind of Filipino text on it and a graphic of a hand. If anybody can assist with relevant information, they are asked to make contact again to Letterkenny Garda Station.
Okay, now to Kilcar.
Boga Kilcar, Greg, an expensive bit of equipment was stolen from a broken down black Mitsubishi Outlander Jeep that occurred between 12 p.m. on Sunday the 26th of January. This vehicle broke down, and 11 a.m. then it was discovered when they went back to the vehicle on Monday, yesterday. This vehicle was parked up along the roadside. Entry was gained to it, although no damage was caused, and the property taken was a very expensive animal scanner. So, very specific piece of equipment for maybe a vet or somebody. Greg, it wouldn't be something that would be very easy to move on, I wouldn't think. So, it's an animal scanner, maybe like something for scanning sheep and cattle. We appeal to anybody who may have been observed, any activity around Boga Kilcar between 12 p.m. on Sunday the 26th and saw this black Mitsubishi on the side of the road, and may have seen another car pulled up or whatever, or have a description of somebody that was looking in or suspicious at the time. My colleagues in Ballyshannon are looking after this one, and they can be reached on 071 98 58530.
All right, on to the last appeal, and it's a busy old road, so someone must have something.
Yeah, it's a busy road and a busy time in the morning on Thursday the 23rd of January at 8:15 a.m. At Stranorlar, the driver of a white Ford Transit was travelling on the N13, which is the main Letterkenny road in Stranorlar, towards Letterkenny, when a dark coloured car, possibly we think at this stage a Ford Focus, struck the side of his van. This collision was it would have been apparent. It wouldn't have been something a little glance at maybe the driver. So the driver that in the Ford Focus knows that they were in a collision. So this happened as they exited from a side road onto the main road across from the old Nina Models factory, if you know, Greg.
Yes.
The driver of the car then travelled, didn't stop obviously, and travelled onwards towards Maclay's Corner in Stranorlar. They didn't return to the scene or provide the appropriate information. So the driver, but fortunately the driver of the van was not hurt. So again, we're appealing to other road users at this busy time in the morning, 8:15 a.m. on Thursday the 23rd of January. Anybody that can help in identifying the registration plate or the driver of that car, or indeed the driver themselves, because there is, everyone at this stage knows there's multiple CCTV cameras in that area, and they are being viewed at the moment. So if the driver wants to come forward and save all that hassle, please do so.
Yeah, the night is closing, so it's whether you come in yourself or Garda end up knocking on your door.
Yes.
Right, okay, we're still getting used to this new bank holiday, early February. Not much we can do with the weather, but that might make travelling conditions a little bit more complicated, you know, dark mornings, dark nights. And the Garda, once again, will be out and about, because we do know, don't we, Niall, that unfortunately bank holiday weekends, we do see an uptick in death and serious injury on the roads.
Yeah, we don't need to remind people of the Donegal's history with bank holidays and serious road traffic collisions and fatalities. It seems to be a trend, unfortunately, and a trend that we want to stop. So we just want to urge everyone, I suppose, across Donegal to act responsibly, slow down, never drive while under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and put down the mobile phone and put it out of reach, put it in your glove box or whatever, so you're not distracted. The mobile phone incidents, Greg, a lot of them, you know, we don't know that, how many accidents these are causing, because like people don't really admit these kinds of things when they're on their phone, and even minor damage and stuff. So it's an unknown, but I'm sure we've all seen people on the road, and you know, it's their behaviour can be sometimes. For me as a guard, a car in front that's weaving over and left, it was always traditionally a sign of being intoxicated.
Yeah. But
now a lot of the times, unfortunately, you can see that they're on their phone.
Driving, yeah.
Yeah. So it's similar type of driving to actually being drunk driving. So unfortunately, this past week in Donegal, 3 drivers were arrested on suspicion of driving while under the influence of alcohol. One of these drivers was already disqualified from driving, Unfortunately, 6 drivers were also arrested across the county over the past week on suspicion of driving while under the influence of drugs. So twice as many arrested for driving under the influence of drugs as drink.
And if that's not bad enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another
driver, was one of these drivers under drugs was driving an articulated lorry. And he was also disqualified from driving. So that's 2 drivers that shouldn't have been driving, that were driving on the road. So the message we're putting out there is sometimes these disqualifications aren't being taken seriously by everyone, and that needs to change. We have to work together to prevent, serious injuries and collisions and tragedies on the road this bank holiday.
I mean, drink driving figures, we very sadly become accustomed to this. I remember sort of drug driving detections with maybe a third of the drink driving, and then the sort of was a parity, and now almost regularly now we're seeing drug driving. So it talks to a couple of things. Firstly, people driving under the influence of drugs, but the widespread use of drugs and their availability. Because if you think of the pot that you guys are dipping out of, and 6 drivers in a week under the influence of drugs, one of them driving an Arctic, it would make you wonder what's going on out there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you're right, Greg. I suppose it shows how much drugs are out there and being consumed and stuff. So yeah, and listen, it's the message. It's not an anti-drug. It's road safety is the big one for this weekend, Greg. And you're not safe if you're driving under the influence of drugs. Even if you think that you're okay, maybe you've had the drugs the night before or whatever. The next day, studies have shown that
you're still impaired.
You're impaired completely.
Yeah, of course. And now the technology is there that. If you are stopped, you will be checked and you will be done. We'll go through the basics again. I know it's kind of tried and tested, Niall, but there are still some firm basics that are there that if we all employed, we would certainly help reduce fatalities and serious injury.
Greg, you're completely right. And we've beat this drum on your show many a time. The message is slow down, wear your seatbelt, and never drink and drive. That's the 3 main causes of our major accidents in Donegal. And if we get rid of them 3, well, then we'd be a lot happier.
Yep, go out, have fun, enjoy your bank holiday weekend, plan how you're getting home, and no one's party pooping. Just don't do anything on the roads that's going to risk your life or other people's lives. Community engagement and crime prevention meetings have been ongoing. I've seen them flagged quite a bit now.
Yeah, we've had 2 taking place already in Lifford and Stranraer, and we want to thank everyone who attended. And we also had one last week in Creasland, the Garda station, and it was very successful. There's a 3rd meeting to take place tonight, Tuesday the 28th at 7 p.m. at the Station House Hotel in Letterkenny, and the Divisional Crime Prevention Officer Fergus McGrory will be in attendance to offer crime prevention advice and a chat with him if you want. If you have anything specific you want to talk to Sergeant McGrory about, he's very open and he'll listen to anybody. Local community policing Garda members and a number of community agencies will be there also. So this is a great opportunity for us to receive feedback and to answer any queries from the public that maybe wouldn't be used to maybe contacting us, Greg. So everybody's welcome to attend.
A very useful 2-way communication there. Okay, listen, as always, Niall, thanks so much for your time. We do appreciate it. That was Garda Niall Maguire from the Falcara Garda Station, and that was Community Garda Information for this week. It'll be back after the 10 o'clock news for you next Tuesday.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Pyrex kitchenware is all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price Pyrex kitchenware is gone, it's gone. Also, all rugs, all home gym equipment and all artificial plants and flowers are still all half price. But when all the half price rugs, home gym equipment and artificial plants and flowers are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Changing a name also changes the game. The iconic Audi A4 is now known as the Audi A5. More than simply a number change, it also raises the game in sophistication, sportiness, power and innovation. Test drive the new Audi A5, part of the 251 Audi range. This is the expression of evolution. This is Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik.
Transform your space with McCafferty Tiles Bala Buffet, specialising in large format and designer tiles. We offer expert installation and free design consultation in our showroom or on site. Let us bring your vision to life with bespoke recommendations. Call 086 242 3604 or find us on Facebook and Instagram. McCafferty Tiles Bala Buffet, showroom by appointment.
For all your pharmacy needs, visit the new Brennan's Pharmacy in Letterkenny, now open at the Fort Retail Park right across from the new Dunn Stores and Costa Coffee. With 600 free parking spaces in a convenient location, we're ready to help with all types of prescriptions, medicines, pharmacist advice, vaccinations, plus an extensive range of skincare, vitamins, gifts and much more. Can't make it in? We offer local home delivery within 10 kilometres of Letterkenny, perfect when getting into town is tough. So for all your pharmacy and prescription needs, trusted advice and friendly service, come to the new Brennan's Pharmacy Letterkenny. Call us at 074 970 8060. We're here for you.
All right,
The
so
9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Okay, so obviously post-storm a lot of conversation has been about the electricity supply and many of you too are affected by a lack of water supply even when the power returns. So we're going to try and get some information on that for you now. Anthony Skeffington is Ishka Aaron's Regional Operations Manager in the Northwest. Thanks for your time, Anthony. Good morning to you.
Good morning and good morning to your listeners.
Do we have a sense in Donegal how many are currently without a water supply, Anthony?
And if I could say just on the off, apologise for the inconvenience caused to many of our customers up there who have been without water over the last number of days. Obviously, and you're well aware now, this has been an unprecedented weather event and very difficult, we've had a lot of damage done to our infrastructure and that across the region. Just to give you a sense, we've 29 water treatment plants in Donegal. We've 109 reservoirs and 244 pumping stations, and they supply the water out across County Donegal through about 4,750 kilometres of water main. So we had good preparedness done for the storm leading up to it, thanks to a lot of good work on the ground by all our caretakers, our water inspectors and GSSs. They carried out a lot of good preparation work, like having our reservoirs full and that. And we would have quite a lot of generators, fixed generators at our plants, and that has stood to us, especially in Donegal. At the moment, we've about, I think it's around 1,000 properties without water in different parts of the county, and we're actively working on those, during the course of the day and in the next couple of days. But certainly, it's improving. The situation is improving on the ground.
And are those 1,000 customers? Are they clusters, or is it more spread out, more complicated in getting supply back to them, or as I say, once the situation is resolved, could we see a 300 people connected at the one time, if that makes sense?
That's correct. They're clusters. On the old Tesla scheme, we have around the Teelan area of about 100 properties out of water. Lettermack Ward, along the Mahary Falmore scheme, about 50. We've some issues in Nairn and Portnew, some in the Greencastle area, and some a few areas of Pollen Dam as well. So we're gathering that information. See, a lot of our plants had fixed generators, and that some of our outlying pumping station may not have, and we've brought in generators to supplement the amount that we've had. And also then we're putting alternative water systems in place as well, tankers and that, and Bowsers, where we're unable to get water supply to people over the course of the day.
Do you believe that more generators in the outlying pumping stations need to be put in place, Anthony, especially given the fact that the water supply is so reliant on electricity, and we potentially could be seeing more power outages going forward.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that we will review after this storm. Obviously, it has been unprecedented. It has caused severe issues with our network. And just on the case of generators in general, we've about 8,000 locations across the country. They are plants, pumping stations, water treatment plants, and different pumping stations on the network. So it's not just possible to have generators at all locations. We have generators, as I said, at our large treatment plants, and they'd be fixed generators. On other areas, we do keep stocks of generators, and we mobilise them where need when an event like this occurs. What you're seeing happening is the generators now that are coming off use in the south of the country, where power has been restored and which was first hit by this storm, are being transported up into our area now, and we're using them. But certainly, it'll be an area that we will look at going forward. I think we may not need a generator at every single pumping station, but if we have the capability of being able to plug in a generator quickly into those, I think that will go a long way.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That's something we...
Now, I know some of this is how long's a piece of string, and I didn't ask. Of the 1,000 customers currently without water, what is the return estimates as best? Obviously, you can't go through them all, Anthony. I'm not trying to paint you into a corner in that. Yeah. But are you expecting significant progress today, tomorrow, Wednesday, or could it be the end of the week into next week? What's the sense on the ground?
Well, as you're well aware, we're heavily reliant, and I've mentioned this, on the ESB and power, to our plants. We have, as I said, power points and pumping stations that require power. And in some of those locations, we'll be relying on the power to come back. But we are making progress, and I would say within the next couple of days, definitely those areas, the affected areas that I mentioned earlier, we'll be getting water supply back into those areas. And if not, alternative water systems will be in place, and we will have those highlighted on our website.
I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, we never waste water, and we'll always try and conserve it as much as possible. But I just note, post the storm, there's a particular emphasis on water conservation. Why is that? Well, what's the logistics or the reason for that? That it goes beyond the regular don't waste water advice.
Yeah, if you look at it, our reservoirs are our first line of defence. So we try and conserve the water, and we usually, if there's an incident like this or an issue, we try and get people to, conserve as much water as possible, because we don't know exactly the extent or how long that water will last. So if we conserve it, it'll last longer. It's like the stores of water in the attic. We try and maintain those as long as possible, because we don't know how long people will be out for. But our reservoirs would usually have 12 to 24 hour storage, depending on the network and that. So if we can conserve water, and even conserving water now, we'll definitely make it last longer, so that people aren't without it. Also, when we see, for example, if there's areas where there's no water and we're bringing water back into play, there might be bursts on the network and stuff like that, which are business as usual bursts as such. So we need to conserve water to maintain supply for those as well and to it.
How important is it for those without water to report it to Uisce Éireann? Because I'd be conscious of maybe someone sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'll come on when everyone else comes on. Maybe that is the case, or should people not presume someone else has reported an outage?
No, our number and our customer care centre is open 24/7. The number to contact us on is 1800 278 278. And the more information we get in about leaks that are out in the network, whether it be it on your own property or whether they're out on the public network, we need to know those, because we definitely on the public property we will rectify those or repair them as quickly as possible. We have a first fix scheme as well for leaks on private property.
Okay, is the boil water notice still in place for Glenties Ardrow?
Yeah, and I was just going to mention that we had again, one of the issues with storms like this is sometimes we cannot guarantee the quality of the water that's coming out of our water treatment plants. We had an issue with raw water deterioration at Glenties Ardra, so we had to issue a boil water notice on Friday, I think it was Saturday last. So that's in place, but we expect that will be rescinded by the end of the week. We are testing at the moment, so hopefully that will be resolved over that period. But I would encourage, say to people that if they're on that scheme, to do boil the water before they use it. Now, I know it might be, hopefully they will have power back, but there may be some people with small generators or gas, that can do that. But the key thing here was to get water back into the network, for sanitation purposes.
Is there water tankers in that area for those that don't have access to electricity? I don't know. Has water been supplied?
Yeah, and I'm just unaware of that at the moment but it didn't flag to me this morning when I was doing around that there was any areas without water in the Glenties Ardra area.
Understood, but clean drinking water is what I'm talking of. Listen, thanks very much for that, Anthony. That's Anthony Skeffington, Uisce Éireann's Regional Operations Manager in the Northwest. Water.ie is their website. You can also follow them on X at IWCare. They probably should do it somewhere else as well, because lots of people aren't using X and never did and probably don't really want to now. So it wouldn't be my go-to place for information. It'd be great to see them post that information elsewhere. But Map Alerter, you can sign up to Map Alerter, and it will. It's an app and a service that will note to you when water is going out in your area. They have 24/7 customer care, 1-800-278-278. So please don't presume someone else has reported your water outage. Okay, break, back with the weather and some comments to take us towards the news at 11 o'clock.
On today's broadband breaking news, slow broadband creates mortifying meetings.
It keeps freezing in meetings. It's so embarrassing.
Give humiliation the heave-ho with NBI's reliable high-speed fibre broadband network. It's available across the country right now, so don't delay. Check your aircode at nbi.ie.
NBI is delivering the government's national broadband plan.
Oh, could you imagine dropping out of meetings? No, I couldn't. It's awful.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Pharmacy to let you know that Clarence have a great skincare gift available this week. Buy 2 Clarence products, one to be skincare, and you will get a choice of 4 treat size essentials. Which 4 will you choose? This great Clarence offer is available until Saturday the 8th of February or while stocks last, and store and online at mcgees.ie. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to myself or any staff member at McGee's Chemist on Main Street, Letterkenny.
Planning a new build or rebuild? Then don't miss the Donegal New Build and Rebuild Expo 2025 at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny on February 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Admission is free. Stop by the McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tile stand and discover the latest in bathroom designs, stunning tiles and more to bring your dream home to life. February 1st to 3rd at the Mount Errigal Hotel. McDade's, where quality and service count. Don't miss it.
The Volkswagen Caddy Cargo. Dependable, resilient and versatile. The perfect choice for your business. Now with 0% finance, service plans from €12.99 per month and pricing starting from only €21,600 ex-VAT. There's never been a better time to upgrade your business. With stock available now at Volkswagen commercial vehicle retailers across Ireland for January delivery, order your 251 Volkswagen Caddy Cargo today. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from mcelhennys.com.
So a breezy day today with showery outbreaks of rain at first, followed by scattered showers and sunny spells this afternoon. Temperatures of 6 to 8 degrees. We might be getting a spell of better weather, more milder, calmer weather coming down the line. What is coming in the line, though, is loads of calls and comments. Thanks so much for that. Charlie McConnell done very little for Donegal. When asked what he could take credit directly for, he just waffles and can't say what he did. Most infrastructure built in the last 10-15 years anyway, but the things we really need, roads, housing and other things, he had very little effect. Joe McHugh was the same. Very poor. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael are no good for the Northwest, they say, but obviously Charlie McConnell and his supporters would point to money brought in for peers, farming, fishing, veterinary schools and so on and so forth. Stop your crying, says a listener. Who did you vote for? Only upset because the pot of gold is smaller. Why not ask where are the TDs? They're on holidays for 2 weeks. That's where they are. They're not back. Suck it up, Donegal. The people have had their say, says a listener. I see a lot of kind of comments around the you've made your bed, now lie in it. Wow, for the few zone cohort now feel government... Sorry. Wow, for the few own cohort now feel aggrieved and have just woke up to what everyone else has known for years in Donegal. We've consistently had ministers and still missed out. Over 14 years ago, the principal of our largest national school wrote to the parents pre-election to say they had met with their own Tánaiste and sounded like it was sorted. No school, no swimming pool, no outer relief road, no inner relief road, no ETB secondary, no Gael secondary, no Gael Skull. DCB was ministers that we had lack of regulations. Wake up, says Oisin there. Broadband is not that great in Donegal despite millions being pumped into the network. This is the issue in Ireland, another national asset given away by our government to a Spanish company. How is Ireland ever going to work with this handing away of our best assets? I think we have there's always room for improvement, and if you don't have broadband, the broadband service is crap. But we do have very strong broadband in rural Ireland, stuff that in many parts of it that you wouldn't even get in the outskirts of Letterkenny. Aquila says, I remember the bypass from Manor Cunningham to the roundabout, and the councillor didn't want trees planted along the road. I'm just wondering who's responsible for putting the trees in place. There are lots of trees ready to fall down at the bridge end. Ramelton, please be aware, notes a listener. Hi Greg, we're hearing on Facebook the speed limits are all changing. Is this true? Yes, indeed, it is true. 80's going to 60, I think 50's going to 30. There are significant changes, and I want to get clarity in relation to that. So myself and Caroline have been discussing that and hoping to get someone on that will say categorically what the situation is. Are these blanket reductions across the board, specific roads? The information actually I've found really quite hard to pin down, so we're working on that. Thanks to the council road staff who cleared trees to get across into Fanad on Saturday, we were totally cut off. If I have a tree on my lawn that's close to the road and it falls onto the road, presumably, is it my responsibility or the council's? Interesting question. I'm not sure what the actual sort of landowner responsibility is there. Someone out there is going to know, though. Tree on private property falls onto the road. Is it the landowner's, homeowner's responsibility, or is it the council's responsibility?
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Heading off on holiday? Don't forget to park to relax. Travelling for business? Well, then just park to work. Flying for a city break? Simply park to explore. No matter where you're going, you'll find safe, secure shuttle parking just 6 minutes from the airport at Dublin's newest airport car park, Park 2 Travel. Visit park2travel.ie now to book your space from March 10th, and then simply park to go. Park2travel.ie. For when you need to park to, well, travel.
Transform your home with Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Watson Menswear's big January sale is now on in-store and online, with great discounts across top names in menswear like Andre, Tom Penn and Rima Zumo. Also big savings on Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow footwear. Don't miss out on some great bargains in the January sale, now on at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com. Grab a menswear bargain this January at Watson Menswear.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it is 11 o'clock, and we say good morning once again to Michaela Clark, who has the latest news.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Investigations are continuing following the death of 20-year-old Casper Dudek in Donegal after a tree fell on his car during Storm Éowyn. Mr Dudek, a native of Poland who was raised in Lifford, is due to be laid to rest on Thursday following the incident at Fetty Glass. Gardaí have joined others in expressing their sympathies to his family. Gardaí, meanwhile, are appealing for witnesses after a 13-year-old boy was seriously injured following a suspected fall from an e-scooter in Buncrana yesterday. Emergency services were alerted shortly after 4:45 p.m. after the teenager was found unresponsive in the Linsford area. He was treated at the scene before being transferred to Letterkenny University Hospital, where he remains in a serious condition. The public inquiry into the Omagh bombing is now underway, with its chair promising it will help educate others about the real effect of terrorist violence. 29 people, including a woman pregnant with twins, were killed in the real IRA attack in 1998. Letterkenny Chamber has expressed concern at the loss of a cabinet seat in Donegal. Chamber President Claire McDonough says the past 10 years saw relatively little infrastructural development in Donegal, and without cabinet representation for the next 5 years, she says the situation is looking very bleak. Gardaí have renewed their appeal for information in connection with a serious assault in Lifford on Monday, January the 20th. Charles Duher, who is in his 20s, and his father, who is in his 60s, were seriously assaulted when a group of masked men armed with steel batons entered their home on the Connyborough Road. Mr Duher remains in a serious condition in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast. Almost 11,000 homes, farms and businesses remain without power in Donegal. ESB crews are back on the ground this morning in a bid to restore power to the 10,750 affected premises. Twice as many motorists have been arrested in Donegal over the past week for drug driving compared to drink driving. 3 drivers were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, one of whom was already disqualified. Meanwhile, 6 people were caught drug driving. One of them was driving an Arctic lorry and was also currently banned from driving. Donegal County Council has agreed to write to the HSE to seek clarity over the dispatching of ambulances. It's after assistance from the NAS was denied last week in response to a fire which completely destroyed a house in Falcara. Homeowner Kathleen had a lucky escape when the blaze broke out on Thursday morning. And a Derry councillor has been suspended from the SDLP after providing a court reference for an Irish soldier who was recently jailed for the rape of another member of the Defence Forces. Brian Tierney, a former mayor of Derry and Strabane, last week apologised for the reference he issued for 30-year-old Keelan Mooney of Bloomfield Park, Derry, which he later withdrew. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Our next guest joins us on the show very shortly.
How can I help? It's a question I ask my patients every day. It's a question I ask myself. One thing I've learned is that I can help even more when I can easily connect with
physios,
paediatricians, specialists,
nurses,
who are all working with me in a healthcare network that takes a wider view of your health. That's VHI, where healthcare connects. So let me rephrase the question. How can we help?
VHI, because your health means everything.
Rightio. Now we're going to look at the work of Trócaire and changemakers on climate justice and discover how we can all make a difference. They're holding a climate justice event in the Regional Cultural Centre in Letterkenny on Thursday. We're joined on the programme by Nicholas Hanrahan, who is Campaign Events and Outreach Officer with Trócaire. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. And also, Scar Dubé, originally from Zimbabwe, now living in Letterkenny, joins us on the programme as well. Good morning to you, Scar. Sorry, you are muted there, Scar. We'll get to you in a moment, if you don't mind. We'll start with you, if that's okay, Nicholas. Tell us about this event that's upcoming.
Yeah, so we're partnering with Changemakers Donegal, who do wonderful work in Donegal to raise issues of global justice. And we're bringing our exhibition, which is called The Eyes of the Storm. And we've put together these images from Trócaire staff and photographers that have visited the regions where we work in the global south. And really it shows the impacts of climate change on these communities. And the main highlight of the exhibition is the portraits of the people that we're working with in these communities. Some of them are activists who are speaking out for climate justice on the global stage. Others are those who are working in the communities just to help their communities adapt to climate change. And really the common denominator amongst them all is that they're meeting this challenge with bravery, with resilience, and using their talents to help their local communities and adapt to this climate crisis that we're seeing across the globe.
Yeah, and you know there's many groups of people, but say I'll put it down to two groups of people. Firstly, there are those who don't believe there is a climate crisis. Okay, we're probably not going to convince them otherwise today. But I think also too there are those that accept there is climate change and are concerned about potential for wetter winters here, more storms and what have you, but don't necessarily consider how our actions in the Western world can impact, other countries, and we're going to see more and more climate migration as a result.
I think that's right. And, we've seen firsthand the impacts that it's having on our own communities in the country. I've listening to callers this morning explain their power outages and, the tragic loss of life we've heard about. But if we think about what happens in these communities in the global south where, they're already dealing with the issues of poverty, where there's maybe poor access to clean water already, where livelihoods are completely destroyed by storms. Think of subsistence farmers that Trócaire are working with, where if a storm comes that destroys their crops, that's their means of survival that's taken away. So really, I think what we're wanting to do is have the people of Trócaire, our Trócaire supporters and people of Ireland, really encourage the government to do what they can to make sure that there is finance available for these countries in the global south, that they can have the money they need to help them adapt to climate change, to help them rebuild after there is destruction and there is lasting damage or irreversible damage caused by a climate crisis. And it's something that we need our politicians to know that we care about, that we think this is a matter of justice, a matter of fairness, that whilst we see the impact on us and our communities, that there are people who are far worse off in other parts of the world and far more vulnerable to these impacts.
Yeah, but when the world leaders get into their jets and descend on wherever they're having the most latest annual meeting about climate change, it is often a challenge to get them to commit the money that is required to actually assist some of the people that you're talking of.
And that's very true. And we saw that at the most recent COP conference just before Christmas, where those countries came together. But I think that's why it's important for governments like Ireland to take some leadership on this issue, to say, we are willing to commit to our fair share and really seek to, use their influence within Europe, within the wider world to say we want to commit more and we have to work on this together. This isn't an issue that one country will be able to solve on its own. It really does require global work. And I know I appreciate that seems like it's a difficult thing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, how do you overcome drill, baby, drill? How do you, where the greatest superpower in the world is led by a person that has no faith in wind energy, doesn't believe it is actually. Now, the drill, baby, drill thing is an interesting thing because I would be suspicious that the oil companies themselves, it's a little bit like tobacco companies, the oil companies themselves, they know that his term is 4 years. They're thinking about investments and where the world will be in 15, 20, 25 years. I don't believe they're going to invest over a 4-year period in the massive infrastructural development that's required to drill on the scale that Donald Trump wants them to require. So he might actually sort of get the plaudits for those who want to hear that. But in reality, I don't think the big oil companies are going to commit massive investment off the back of his comments. But it's about the narrative, though, right? Okay, so why should I do anything in my little corner of Eternland in the corner of this country, when you've got a global superpower and plenty of criticism towards China as well, that aren't doing or taking on their responsibility?
I think it's it's a difficult one for people to think, like you say, when it's the size of America and the size of the forces you're up against, think these huge fossil fuel companies. But I think people have proven when they take action and when they want to, make politicians know that it is a priority for them. Politicians do listen. We've had fossil fuel divestment in Ireland here in the past. It's something Troca campaigned on in the past. We've seen where, over other issues where consumers and voters have put issues at the forefront of politicians' mind and let politicians know that these are the issues I will be voting on. Obviously, we've just had an election, so we've got a new government, but engaging with your TD and saying, look, we want this action to be taken as a priority for your government, and this is something we would judge you on when we next come to vote is a powerful tool. And communities coming together, learning together. I think this event will be a fantastic opportunity to do that and share those stories of hope. We have to maintain some hope amidst the chaos around the climate at the moment, and it's by coming together and looking what we can do as communities and think about how we can use our collective voice. I think that's where the real power is, and I think that's the sort of conversation we'll be having on Thursday night.
Yeah, and we were hoping to chat to Ska Dube, who's originally from Zimbabwe, living in Letterkenny now, but I don't believe we can we hear from Ska. Ska, are you there?
I'm here, Craig. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thanks. No, thank you for your efforts. We were talking about the impacts of climate change, and often in certain parts of the world, we can talk about how it can impact on growing crops and what have you, but there's also parts of the world now that are becoming uninhabitable. The temperatures are such, the rainfall levels are such that people have to move to survive. What will you be reflecting on in your contribution on Thursday, Ska?
I think basically I'll be just reflecting on the issues of climate justice, just looking at the impact that climate change has had on people that have done so little to contribute to what is happening right now. So just basically looking at zoning into what's happening like in my country, currently what people are undergoing, specifically my family and the community that I come from.
Okay, the connection is so poor, it's not an advantage. I'll tell you what we might do. We might give you a call just to tease that out with you a little bit more, if that's okay. So we'll bring you in on a telephone in a moment. Right, so whilst we wait for Ska to rejoin us, Nicholas, talk to us then about this evening at the RCC in Letterkenny. It's on Thursday. It runs from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So it's a small window with a lot of content, a short, sharp shock.
That's right, yes. So we'll be inviting people to view the exhibition. We have the exhibition on display at the Regional Cultural Centre, and then we'll be having a panel discussion. So there'll be a few of us there to discuss the issue of climate justice. It'll be chaired by Changemakers Donegal. We'll have representatives from Donegal County Council and from Save Our Sperrins, which is a group that's campaigning just across the border in County Tyrone against a mining project there. And then we'll sort of explore some of the practical actions we can take with our politicians to make them take notice of climate justice. And I think that's something, this event bringing, I think there's a capacity of about 50 in the room. If we bring together 50 people to have this important conversation, show that, that there are people that are discussing these things intently and reflecting on the issues that are involved. I think that's a powerful sign in of itself of what the community and the people of Donegal think of this issue. So I think it will be a great
Okay,
discussion.
stay there, Nicholas. Ska Dube is with me on the phone line now. So Ska, apologies for that. So, how has climate change, the climate crisis, dependent on how people want to describe it, how has it affected life in Zimbabwe?
I think it's just the basic things that talked about in terms of the poor crop yields. I think just to bring it into perspective, like over 80% of the population in Zimbabwe relies on rain-fed subsistence farming. So if it doesn't rain, then it affects a large number of the population that mostly relies on that. We will also look at the challenges when it comes to getting clean sources of water. So we have people walking long distances just looking for water sources. We also have challenges with boreholes that were drilled. Most of the boreholes were drilled like in the 90s by donor companies. Most of them have stopped working. And in cases where communities have come together to drill boreholes, those have also dried up because the water tables have become so low. We also look at the challenges when it comes to domestic animals like your cows and the donkeys. I was speaking to my dad just in September because he wanted us to help with feeding the cows, the expenses that people have to carry just in an attempt to keep livestock. Cows are seen as a form of wealth where I come from, so you can't necessarily have a home and not have cows. So it's not an option of saying I'll get rid of the cows because we do not have any feeds for them. And just to put it into perspective, just feeding one cow in a week would cost like a bale of 15 kgs. That's what you would need just to make sure that it survives. So that will cost you like €5. I know for any other person out there, they're like, okay, I can afford €5, to feed a cow. But you're talking about an economy where there is no social assistance from the government in terms of providing sources of income for most people that are unemployed. Like for my dad, his pension is like a $30 in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to split that, feeding cows and, you have that option. So 20 head of cows would cost them like €100 a week to feed. And that's $400 in a month. And that money has to come from someone that is working within the family. So you have that big challenge where humans are affected, but we're also looking at the animals as well that we need to have, for survival purposes. We have to feed them.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the biggest challenge.
Scar Dubé, we look forward to listening to you much more. In fact, it'd be interesting to get you into studio. The phone line is not fantastic either, but listen, we look forward to, as I say, listening to you on Thursday. I suppose, finally, Nicholas, and not to be negative, so I won't use this as my final piece here, is that, at the end of the day, it's very possible that you'll be speaking and preaching to the converted on Thursday evening. Sometimes it's about reaching people that perhaps are a little bit skeptical or perhaps think it's all a whole load of nonsense, but then might listen to Scar there and get a better understanding of the global impacts of this. But I suppose you can only do what you can do.
That's right, and I think that's why it's important for the people who maybe come along to have those conversations with their neighbours, with their family members. It's easier for them to make that connection with them than perhaps from me as from an organisation like Trocra. So, but that's what we're really encouraging people to do, is take that practical action of having these conversations and perhaps explaining something to somebody who perhaps has a bit of a different view, and that's the sort of thing we can do. And just to say, if people are interested in coming along on Thursday, they should email changemakers@innershowing.ie just to book a place there.
Nicholas,
on Thursday night.
Thanks for your time. Take care. Nicholas Hanrahan, Campaigns, Event and Outreach Officer with Trocra. I mean, I'm of the view and that I think people are pretty much locked into their views now generationally. I think, people around my age, there are going to be those that believe the climate crisis is a thing and will make their efforts. And there are those that believe it's not. It's a load of nonsense. And I'm not sure really those views are ever going to be swayed one way or another. But there is new generations coming through all the while. And perhaps younger people will be more interested in it than many older people are. Not saying that some aren't. That being said, I was at a recent event where young people were raising issues that were of importance to them, and climate didn't come up in that. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just talking out my hat. Thanks, Nicholas. Thanks, Scar. That's Thursday night if you're interested. The traffic lights at Maclay's in Stranraer, when people are coming up to them in the direction of Letterkenny, turning left for St Joseph's Hospital in Stranraer, they often skip through the filling station there when the traffic lights are red. No one is in that big of a hurry. This safety issue really needs addressing. Well, last time I checked, there was signs saying no through traffic as well, so they shouldn't. It's common courtesy not to. Firstly, it's dangerous because it's a place where people are stopping to go and grab something to eat, pump some fuel, grab some bread. Through traffic is incredibly dangerous. I want to remind people to wear high vis when out and about. I had 2 narrow misses recently when walkers in dark clothing stepped out in front of me, says the listener. A caller says, we have a small generator at the house. Do we have to notify the ESB that we are using one? Someone said if the ESB are working on the line, using the generator can be dangerous. Is this true? I'm not an electrician. Do you have to notify the ESB? I've never heard that before. Please tell me you're not using a generator and feeding the house without, I don't want to say because it's a dodgy, but taking the main fuse out. You do not want to have a generator running, feeding your house, plugged into a wall, which is a no-no anyway, but some people are doing it and it's up to them. And then the power to come on, that would be very bad. So consult an electrician. You don't have to notify the ESB, but please be careful that when the power does come on, that it's you've broken the circuit. However you do that, I'm not giving advice. It's an electrician's job and it's very dangerous. Also, please be really careful of using generators in the house or in a garage or anywhere where carbon monoxide can build up, and there are other dangers there as well, because unfortunately we have seen the loss of life over the head of that. Yes, Donegal got a lot of money via Charlie McConnell, says the listener, but it didn't come via Dublin. It came via the flag money from Europe. We all have Boris Johnson and Brexit to thank for it, where Britain had to pay money via Europe within a 10-mile radius of the border. Examples of that money spent are the bike lane in Quigley's Point, the pier in Greencastle. Proof Dublin doesn't care about Donegal. Did we ever think we'd be saying thank God for the British? Hi, Greg. This wee country of ours is ruined. Imagine OAP with a medical card having to pay €60 to their GP to get their eyes assessed to renew their driver's licence. Ridiculous, says that listener. I want to know what the Donegal ministers achieved for Donegal while they were in government. For example, Deputy Joe McHugh and Charlie McConnell-Logue. Well, they're probably in the best position to answer that. Pure rubbish. There's always been drought and famine in Africa and tropical storms in the world. And yes, we had big storms before too in Ireland. And I was waiting on that, and that's fine. And that's your opinion. And I'm not really sure where I sit in all of that. But the world is burning, or blowing a wind, or pouring rain. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be joined afterwards by our own David James, because it's an exciting start to 2025. He's launching his own band. We're going to chat to David after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Irish National Opera presents Johann Strauss's sparkling comedy opera Die Fledermaus in Angrienen Theatre on Saturday the 15th of February. From the composer of the Blue Danube, Die Fledermaus is full of catchy tunes, with champagne-soaked revelry, hilarious twists and Viennese charm. For one night only. Tickets from €29 from angrienen.com. Booking fees may apply. Funded by the Arts Council.
Go full Lidl with these bank holiday winners. Fry this on for size with our deluxe breakfast bundle, Irish black or white pudding with Port B approved Irish sausages and bacon for under €4, only on Lidl Plus. And get rugby ready with our adults and kids Irish rugby kits from $3.99. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl this bank holiday.
Copper is incredible. Sure, isn't that why Alexander Graham Bell used it? It's a perfect connection to the 19th century. Modern life needs modern technology. Cyro has always been fibre first. They get you up to speed with super fast, reliable, future-proofed fibre broadband. Get it through their retail partners like DigiWeb, Pure, Sky, Vodafone and others at cyro.ie today. Cyro, do life different. Subject to availability and location. Oh, lovely.
The Irish press is buzzing about the all-new, all-electric Hyundai Inster. The Irish Times says Hyundai has pulled off a bit of a masterstroke. CompleteCar.ie writes about its eye-catching exterior design and a well-equipped interior. While RTE says other manufacturers should take note. The all-new Inster, starting from €18,995.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 91 22 600.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
23 minutes past 11, and in studio with me now is our own David James. Hi David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Good to be here.
Exciting times for you, big 2025 ahead, but 1st of January you're launching your own band. This is quite significant, isn't there? I'm not sure, are there many, big acts touring with their own band?
Yeah, well, I suppose over the last maybe 10 or 12 years, there hasn't been that many acts that have come onto the circuit actively touring with their own band. Over the last couple of years, I've been lucky enough to be working with the Ryan Turner Band and had such a wonderful time working with those guys, and they're true pros, and I'm really going to miss them. But the time has just come in my career where we had to take that leap of faith almost, and plunge in and launch our very own operation. So,
well, presumably it means, David, that you are the master of your own destiny and your group of people, because fantastic relationship with the Ryan Turner Band, but you both have two calendars, presumably.
Exactly, and they were very busy doing backing jobs for other artists, and then gigs will be coming in for me, and very hard to align the two. So the time has just come to ultimately take the plunge and launch my own band, and we've been working hard over the last couple of weeks there with rehearsals and stuff. We've got a great group of lads together. We've also got a great crew with regards to sound and lighting and roadies, because those guys are the heart of every operation. Like, those guys are the first in there to set everything up and the last out of every venue. So we've got a great team together, and I've also brought John Farry on board as manager. So we've got a good team and looking forward to the challenge now.
You were doing well, right? But this is a different level of pressure, is it? Because, we saw through lockdown musicians, we heard from the likes of Daniel O'Donnell and others that there's a lot of people relying on him to be gigging and performing, right? And it's the same with you now. You're the head of the, I was going to say the head of the snake. I'm not sure if that's a negative or a positive, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to keep everyone busy, and you have your manager and all that type of stuff, but you have to be gigging, you have to have the diary full, and listen, when you're successful, the gigs come handy, but still there's pressure there, I'd imagine. It's a business you're running.
There is, for sure, and a lot of people are going to be coming out at the first couple of gigs and judging your performance, and that's really going to set the bar for the rest of the year. And of course it's not going to be perfect first night out, but it's going to be as close to perfect as we possibly can.
What you need to realise is most of us in the audience don't notice the little imperfections, right? So just pretend they never happened, if they do exist at all. Your first gig's in the Allingham Arms, Bundoran, on Saturday the 1st of February. It's been a stalwart really for country music for generations. It's a great spot to get things underway.
It is, and to me it was very important that when we were launching this band of my own, that we did it in Donegal. We could have launched the band anywhere around the country really, but I think for me personally it had to be in Donegal, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday night, and I've got a few guests as well. Conor O'Donnell is going to be opening up the show, doing his one-man thing, and he's a fantastic artist at that. And then we've got Hugo Duncan on just before myself, so it's going to be an action-packed night up there.
And this band will be playing all over Ireland, presumably.
Yeah, so we've got quite an extensive list of dates for February and March. We're going to be going everywhere. So we start on Saturday in Bundoran. Sunday we head to the Sheerwater in Ballinasloe, County Galway. Monday and Tuesday then we're in Cavan. Next Saturday night, the 8th, we're going to be in the Ryandale in Moy. But then over February, March and April, we're all around the country. And a lot of it is breaking more new ground for me. And then looking towards the summer, I've been really, really surprised, because when you announce that you're launching a new band, it's very hard for a festival to maybe ring and look to book you, because it's almost like a carrot and stick approach, like our chicken and egg, what comes first. But we've had such a great response from festivals around the country.
That's down to your reputation as well too, David. I mean, they know if you're putting together a crew that you're going to have your standards, you know what I mean? And I know what you're on about. It seems like a leap of faith, but I mean, that's where your reputation comes into play there, because they know what's what. So busy spring. very busy summer, I'd imagine. And then
Mhm.
obviously into autumn, you always have to be looking ahead.
Yeah, so towards the autumn then, we're going to start looking at some of my very own concerts, sit down, smaller theatres, basically a pilot run to see how we get on. You know, concerts are the next natural progression, so that's something that I really look forward to. And as I mentioned, I've got John Farry on board now as manager, and he's got this belief in me that we can sort of do this thing, and it's great to have someone with his knowledge and experience to help and guide with regards to what's possible, and also at the same time to say, whoa, let's maybe walk before we can run
Manage
here, you know?
expectations as much as anything. But it's like anything in any industry, but the music industry, there's levels, and you're always trying to go up the levels, aren't you? And so it's all very exciting, actually, and nerve-wracking and fun. And what can you tell us about the band? Have they played together before, or is it different, you know, as much as might be interesting to the listener?
So we've got a diverse age group within the band, which is really good. We've got some old heads with lots of experience. Musical director is a guy called Jim McVeigh. And Jim has got a wealth of experience in music. He's worked with Daniel and Daniel's band, Dominic Kerwin, and also with Nathan Carter. He was with him for the first number of years that he'd started out as musical director. So delighted to have someone of his knowledge on board. And then we've got a couple of younger guys in the band as well.
Do you know how microphones work, David? I mean, you're a professional musician.
Sorry.
You're a professional broadcaster.
I was just looking into your eyes.
I know that. I love you getting closer, but bloody hell, keep the mic between us. Go ahead, yeah.
So we've got Jim Ben as musical director, and then we've got a couple of younger guys as well. We've got John O'Connor from Enniskillen on guitar, and John is a fantastic musician, and it's been great there over the last couple of rehearsals. You know, the first time we got together, everyone is sort of just being careful and sitting on the ropes, but now you can see people starting to come out of their shells and really attacking the gig, and John is a great example of that. We've got a fantastic drummer in Brent McCook on drums. He's from Coleraine. Again, young, but also a really experienced drummer, has toured with Jimmy Buckley in the past, and we're so delighted to have him. So we've got a really good unit together, and what's more importantly is we've got a really nice bunch of guys. We're going to be spending a lot of time together, so the fact that we all get on is fantastic.
Yeah, and you can see the band and David James' new band launch night, 1st of February 25 in Allingham Arms, Bundoran. Hugo Duncan and Conor O'Donnell supporting there. Musical direction, David, is it very firmly in country going forward? Like, that's your bread and butter, but I mean, I've seen you also do other stuff excellently as well, but I mean, from the whole band perspective, but is the direction country?
Well, whilst we work on a country scene, you know, doing country dances per se, the actual program is really diverse. You know, we would have everything from the likes of Phil Collins in there to some of the Drifters, you know, so there's lots of different influences of music. And then, you know, towards the autumn, whenever we move into the concerts, you know, you're going to see different little flavours of Irish folk and ballads in there. I
suppose it's like back in my days of DJing, like, it depends on the venue you're at. Like, Allingham Arms is a, you know, country venue, presume predominantly country, but you head to another venue, you can mix it up and judge on the night as well, as much as anything. And that's where having a good band with you is they can sort of work with you in what direction you want to go on any given night.
Exactly, and I think that's maybe one of the things that have helped country bands stand the test of time here in Ireland, is that the music range is diverse. You know, people take notions per se, and you know, they might follow folk music for a while and then they don't like folk anymore and they like country for a while, but the country music bands on the scene sort of merge all those together, and it leaves it that there is something for everyone within the shows.
Yeah, for sure. Right, well, I want to talk about your new single in a moment, because we're going to listen to it, but plenty going on here at Highland as well. Big shows upcoming.
Plenty going on. Of course, we're looking forward to welcoming everyone to Cavan this Monday. So
I like that Cavan gig, because, you know, obviously people would have been to Salou last year, or maybe headed off on these kind of shows previously, but not everyone wants to fly or be a million miles from home.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it kind of gives that whole experience in a completely different place.
Yes.
A sense of holiday and getting away, but you're not a million miles from home and you don't have to fly.
A couple of hours down the road, and the setting, as you say, makes it feel like a real holiday. We were down there a couple of weeks ago checking things out. It's pure luxury, and people are going to be able to switch off and enjoy their few days. So,
and are the spaces still available for that, or what's the crack?
I don't think so.
Right, okay.
I think we're sold out for that. There's still some places available for our Salou trip in September, which we're looking forward to going back to. And then this year, Highland Radio is celebrating 35 years,
Yeah,
so
exciting.
35th birthday. So at the end of March the 31st, we've got our Highland Radio birthday bash. It's going to be in the Mount Errigal, and we've got a big lineup. We've got Jimmy Buckley, we've got Michael English, we've got Dominic Kerwin, we've got Connell Gallen, we've got Hugo Duncan, Claudia Buckley, Patrick Feeney, and myself and my band as well. So tickets for that are going to be out very, very shortly.
It's funny when you've announced Salou again. I think you were actually out in Salou that did it, and he thinks like, my God, that's so long, 8 months now.
I know, it's crazy.
Time goes so quickly.
It's crazy.
Right, okay, God Bless the Farmers. We're going to listen to a bit of this. This is the latest single that's out. Talk to us about it.
So yeah, God Bless the Farmers was a song that I recorded pretty much more as a personal tribute to my uncles. We grew up on our family farm down in Calais, spent all our summers there, and you know, farmers are really the cornerstone of Ireland, in my opinion. Like, the amount of times that I'd be coming home from a gig at 4, 5 in the morning, and I'd see farmers getting into their tractors and leaving their yards to start their day. It's just amazing the work that they do. So recorded this song and didn't expect it to get the reaction that it did, but it's got something like 600,000 hits or something like that on their video, and I was delighted to have one of my best friends for my whole life, Niamh Shevlin, who was the Donegal Rose. Niamh was in the video with me, so that was lovely. So that was our current single. We released it back around October. Got a great reaction, and we've got another single coming now in March, and that's actually a song that I wrote with my manager John Farry. So really looking forward to releasing that and seeing how it goes down.
Brilliant stuff. All right, David, we're going to listen to God Bless the Farmer. You're on this afternoon, are you?
I'm on this afternoon at 2:30,
right.
and we've got Nathan Carter dropping by.
All right, brilliant stuff. And he's David's in the Allingham with his new band on February 1st, then all across the country throughout February. Back at the Abbey Hotel as part of the Patrick Feeney weekend on the 8th of March, and Letterkenny too, Clanree. And the Mount Errigal, both in March. You can check out davidjamesmusic.co.uk to check all that out. All right, David, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks,
Here's,
Greg.
God Bless the Farmer.
He tills the soil, plants the seeds to feed this hungry land. The farmer, with a hoe, a shovel, and a turning plow, making his living by the sweat of his brow. The farmer, when the sun gets hot, the fields are dry. Like a brain, the seeds then die. The farmer, then he bends his back to plant new grain. Then his farm is blessed with rain. The farmer, God bless the farmer. He feeds the hungry birds in the snow. The farmer, no wonder he's the first in spring to hear the lovely robin sing. The farmer, his woman loves and understands. She works in the fields beside her man. The farmers, God bless the farmers. Then on their knees give thanks to God. plants the seeds to feed this hungry land. The farmer, with a hoe, a shovel, and a turning plow, making his living by the sweat of his brow. The farmer, God bless the farmer. Then on his knees give thanks to God for pretty fields, a black rich sod. The farmer, God bless the farmer.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Expecting a baby? Then a visit to Cool Kids Sligo January sale is a must, with up to 25% off selected push chairs, car seats, nursery furniture and high chairs. Get expert advice on all things baby at Cool Kids Sligo, with deposits accepted and free nationwide delivery. Shop online at babyaccessories.ie.
How does one define grand? Acceptable. Grand. Not too much trouble. That's grand. Say no more. Grand so. It's time to redefine grand and change perceptions. The new Opel Grandland. It's grand. New Opel Grandland. Available in hybrid and electric. Go grand. Test drive the new Opel Grandland at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details.
If you're looking for a competitive insurance quote, contact Hickey Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny. Home, car or van insurance, farm, commercial or public liability insurance. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you get a great price. Call Hickey Clark and Langan on 9126688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hi everyone, David James here, and I'm really excited to be launching my brand new band in the Allingham Arms Bundoran on Saturday the 1st of February with my special guests Hugo Duncan and Conor O'Donnell. Come along for a great night of music as I launch my new band, Saturday the 1st of February, the Allingham Arms Bundoran.
On the 7th of February, the speed limit on many rural local roads will be reduced from 80 to 60 kilometres per hour. As speed contributes to a third of fatal collisions, this greatly reduces the risk of death and keeps everyone on the roads safer. Your local authority has implemented the 80 to 60 kilometre reduction on your road network. Slower speeds, safer roads. Visit gov.ie/speed limits. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Mary Ball joins me on the show. Mary, how are you?
I'm fine, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. You were due to head off from Derry to Edinburgh on Friday, but obviously the weather and the red weather warning had other plans for you. What was the story?
We were due to leave, and it was one of those things. It was, pardon the pun, it was a perfect storm, because we had to be in Glasgow, because it was a surprise party for my Uncle Charlie. He was 75 years of age. And he's actually from down at Brad. So the party was over in Scotland anyway, so that was fine. So we're all over in Scotland, and then the storm hit. And we booked with, am I allowed to say it?
Yeah, EasyJet, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we booked with EasyJet, and what they said to us was that we had to travel. So our flight was originally booked for 4:50. It was like 10 to 5 in the afternoon. And then they sent us a little message through saying, it's been delayed, which you would expect. It's a red weather warning. I checked with my insurance, my car insurance. I wasn't actually insured to drive in a red weather warning. So I was thinking, right, okay, so we're probably going to have to cancel it.
But they said to you effectively, didn't they, you need to present at the airport for the flight because it is due to take off later that evening. And if you don't go there, there's a no-show. The flight's there, it's scheduled, it's going to take off. If you don't turn up, that's your problem.
Exactly.
So you did make that journey from Dunlow to Derry, presume well resourced?
No, we actually got into the car. Everything was ready to go. I'd already phoned Greg. I'd phoned a customer services, I phoned special services, I phoned everyone, and I begged them, literally begged them. My father's 77 years of age. I didn't want him sitting in an airport because our flight was delayed for another 5 hours. And my proposition was, could we present ourselves at 8 o'clock for the 9 o'clock flight?
Oh, wow. Whoa, sorry. Sorry, I've missed a So they expected you to be present for the flight at 16:50, even though at that point everybody knew that the flight wasn't going to go till after 9?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they told me, they said, you need to get iPhone special services. And what they said to me was, we appreciate what you're going through. I said, well, I don't really think you appreciate what Ireland's going through at this minute. But anyway, carry on. And this lovely little girl, she said, I can only tell you she was obviously reading from a script or what her remit was. And she said, if you don't get there, what she said was, that flight could leave 10 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier, half an hour earlier. And if there's a slot, it will go. And I said, and this is what I actually said to her, Craig, I said, with all due respect, my dear, I don't think anything's going to be flying out of Ireland right now.
Only
and
trampolines, Mary, that's the only thing. That's the only thing, and sheds. They're the only things that left the country during the red warning.
Do you know what she says to me, Greg?
Go on.
You still have to go. And I had to shoehorn, I had to get my wee dad out. Now, my dad's fit and sprightly.
Yeah.
He's well fit for it, right? But I was concerned at him sitting in Derry Airport. There's nobody there. There's nothing in Derry Airport. You know, there's a wee tiny cafe bar. We were getting notifications from all over the country because everyone was coming from Uncle Charlie's birthday. So there was people coming from all over the country, all over Europe, and they were all saying, don't travel. You won't get out, Mary. You'll not get out. And they were right.
So what time did you actually get to Derry Airport at then?
We didn't. We didn't get to Derry Airport.
Oh, right, okay. You made that call. I get you. Yep.
They sent us a notification saying it's been cancelled.
You see, the reason I'm confused is I have just a couple of lines here, and one of them says, we travelled with tea and sandwiches to get our flight, but that was not to Derry, obviously.
No, we put everything in the car to go to Derry. Right. And we were all ready, all set to go, and it was cancelled at the last minute. I thought, as the daughter, the dutiful daughter, I thought I've put everything in place. We've made sure, are we going? Now, at the same time, the other dutiful daughter over in Scotland is saying, and she's saying to me, don't travel, Mary, you cannot take Dad out. Please don't travel, honest to God. And she was right. We shouldn't have been travelling. So we ended up staying here in Donegal, in Dunlow, that night. And then we travelled, we had to drive then down to Dublin the next day and got a flight out with Aer Lingus, which in itself was a story to tell. But my point, Greg, is that I was told in the middle of a red weather warning.
Yes.
You have to present yourself. Now, I said to the girl at the special services and I said to the customer services, is there not a manager there that can make a decision that says, do you know what, listen, we're eventually going to call this flight off.
So what's the upshot with EasyJet? Have you lost that money now?
No, I got the money back.
Okay.
But I had to sit on the phone, Greg, and I had to, the original flight, they gave me the refund right away. The second flight, because we were due to fly back from Edinburgh to Derry on the Monday, I had to sit and fight for that money, which wasn't pretty, but I got the money back, which was okay, but not good. You know, I will be firing off a couple of emails just to say this could have been done better and that could have been done better, and certainly sending us out, telling us that was the ultimatum,
that was the ultimatum. You're going to lose your money if you do not present yourself at the airport in the middle of a red weather warning.
And a lot of people would have just got in the car. It's crazy stuff. They need to certainly review their policies and have a bit better understanding of local scenarios. Right, okay. So you got to Dublin on Saturday, Aer Lingus. Did you get to Uncle Charlie's party? That's the only question I have remaining.
Uncle Charlie's party was the absolute berries. It was absolutely wonderful. And there was loads of people from Donegal there, but they had to take so many routes to actually get there.
You must be a special man anyway if you've planes, trains and automobiles to make sure you got there.
It was his 75th birthday. His name's Charlie Boyle, and he lives down at Bradge. He's from Cronishallach originally. He's Neil Fiddler's son, and he's my father's wee brother. So that was the reason why I had to get my father there to his wee brother's birthday.
All right. Well, you did. You moved heaven and earth. Listen, I'm glad it turned out okay. I'm glad it turned out okay in the end. But these airlines need to sort out their policies to expect people to travel or risk losing out on stuff, in a red warning. There's not joined up thinking there. Listen, Mary, thanks very much for your time. And I'm glad you got there safe. And I hope your dad had a great time and Uncle Charlie did too. Thanks, Mary.
Can I just have one add-on, Greg?
Yes, of course. Go on. I won't charge you extra for this.
Thank you for that. We ended up booking through Dublin with Aer Lingus, and I cannot praise them highly enough. They literally moved heaven and earth. Different class, absolutely different stratosphere when it comes to customer service, to getting people what they want. Cannot praise them highly enough. Nice. And a nice note
to end on. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. So highlighting seriously a plot flaw really in the whole red warnings and travel and expecting people to present at an airport in case the plane can take off, which means they travel in a red warning. Thankfully, she got a refund. Thankfully, Aer Lingus looked after them from Dublin, but still probably God knows how long on the phone trying to get that all sorted out. We were chatting to David James here. Some of you sending in your good wishes, so I'll read those just before the break. Best wishes to David and the new band from Colm and Margaret Kelly and Frosses. Hi, Greg. Can you wish David all the best with his new band? He's always been such a support, as you all have at Highland Radio, to Donegal Hospice, especially with Jive for June. Big thank you from Isabel and all at the Donegal Hospice. David is an amazing singer with a big personality, so he will go places. Best of luck, David. That comes in from Maria in Buncrana. Best wishes to David and the new band. I just read that one out. Hi, Greg. Just want to wish David all the best with his new band and all that this year will hold for him. We've supported him from day one and will continue to do so. That comes in from Ruth and Anna and Shane too. Okay, lovely messages coming in there. Back with the weather after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Are you building, rebuilding or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest. Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2025 will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny, February 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Admission is free to this 3-day event. This ad is sponsored by Advanced Timber Frames.
Storm Éowyn has caused severe damage to Ireland's electricity infrastructure, impacting homes, farms and businesses. ESB networks and contracted partners are working to restore electricity to all customers. In areas where the network damage is significant, inaccessible or remote, restoring electricity will be slower, so please bear with us. For estimated restoration times, visit powercheck.ie. We thank all our customers for your patience and understanding. Your safety and the safety of all teams working to restore electricity is our #1 priority. Remember, fallen wires are live, always. Stay safe, stay clear. In emergencies, call 1-800-372-999.
2025 is here, and at Radisson Hotel and Spa Sligo, we're celebrating the new year in style. Book direct and save a minimum of 20% on bed and breakfast rates for a limited time only. Explore Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way and all that Sligo has to offer with stay dates available throughout 2025. Book direct and save today at radsligo.com.
We move Ireland's energy through one of Europe's most modern gas networks, delivering the energy you need today throughout the country. And now we're moving Ireland's energy in a new way, bringing more sustainable sources into the pipeline. Gas Networks Ireland, moving Ireland's energy.
In the month of Bridget, you're invited to join Ard's Friary for a weekend retreat of poetry, music, silence and conversation from the 14th to the 16th of February, as we take time to welcome the light of healing, creativity and new growth. Bookings on info@ardsfriary.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from michaelhennys.com.
Right, a breezy day today with shower outbreaks of rain, followed by scattered showers and sunny spells this afternoon. Highest temperatures of 6 to 8 degrees in moderate northwesterly breezes. Now, we flagged this on the show last week. Sinn Féin have reshuffled their pack. They have refreshed their front bench. I'm not surprised. Pearse Doherty remains spokesperson on finance. Owen O'Brien remains their spokesperson on housing. As I say, no surprises there. David Cullinan also retains his brief. Mairead Farrell returns to public expenditure. That's a role she held in 2020. Donncha O'Leary is Foreign Affairs and Defence spokesperson. Pa Daly will be speaking on climate and transport issues. Claire Crane, Children and Disability, will be her focus. Rose Conway Walsh, Enterprise. Louise O'Reilly, Social Protection. Matt McCarthy, he is going to be taking on Mr. O'Callaghan. He takes the Justice brief, while Martin Kenny will be focusing on agriculture. Joanne Byrne, of course, she was elected for the first time at the last general election. She is going to be a spokesperson on arts and sport. Donna McGettigan is also a new face, a fresh face for Sinn Féin after that election, and will take on the role of speaking on higher education. It was a front bench shake-up. Of course, the other deputy here in this county, Padraig McLaughlin, was the chief whip. I'm not sure if that situation has changed. He hasn't been, as far as I can see, he hasn't been elevated to the what would you call it, the front bench, so to speak. Whether he retains, I presume he's going to change. Retain. He was very keen to stay in that in that position. My sense was when I spoke to him on the show that he'd perhaps been assured of that. I don't know, but that's just my speculation. But anyway, that is I suppose the portfolios that might affect us most. Martin Kenny in agriculture, Owen O'Brien remains in housing, and Pearse Doherty remains in finance. None of that really surprises me. Padraig McLaughlin, no place for him on the front bench. I'm not sure if it was in the offing at all. And as I say, just not able to confirm this time or not whether he retains the whip. But we'll let you know. I presume he does. Time for a couple of comments here. The government should give every household so much to help people with the loss of food in freezers. You can. There is a humanitarian fund. We may reshare that form. You can download it, fill it out and bring it to the social welfare office. My understanding is you don't actually have to be on social welfare to avail of it. No one should use a generator unless they know what they're doing. Feeding electricity into the home without removing the main fuse or installing a three-way changeover switch will feed electricity back to the grid and could kill or seriously injure a linesman working on the line. Using a generator to power the home by an unqualified person is very dangerous. And that's from someone who knows. I wasn't sure, and that's why I didn't want to get too deep into that conversation. I have so many comments that I just didn't get to, but we will carry them over to tomorrow. Every single one of them greatly appreciated, and will get read, certainly off air. They've already been read, but hopefully on air. But that's where we have to leave it. From me, Greg Hughes, and Caroline Orr and Shannon Wilkins. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 9.